been busy. I hope we're all doing well today. I hope we're all having a lovely I hope we're all enjoying ourselves. I am really looking forward to this. It's a game that's been highly recommended to me by friends for a while. So I think it's about time that we go have a blast with it. Hello, it is me. Yes, I look very different. I can barely hear you over the music. Well, good that the music's gone now, I guess. Thank you for the hat bats. But yeah, hi. It has been a hot minute since we last streamed, but I'm back. I return. We're back. Yeah. I just want to quickly show off, by the way. This is the new me. Look at me. I should make myself bigger. I want you to look at me. Like look at her. But look at me. Hi. We're actually managing to make the new design come to life, at least a little. So that's fun. That's very fun. Your little fae has officially become a fae. New Coven, exactly. Honestly, I should probably have added that to the title, shouldn't I? Model looks so good. Yeah, thank you, thank you. Let me open this so we have some background music. I should probably add it to the title, like 1.5 model, I guess. This is the debut. It's done as cursed as everything else we do on this channel is, you know? Cursed, it's just our way. You know what I mean? But yes, hello. I am excited for this. I have not played this. I'm gonna say that I don't know what I'm doing, because I don't know what kind of game this is. I actually do wanna... I wanna be like... I'm not centered. Oh god. I've moved my model so much that now I'm like going insane because it's not where it's supposed to be. And there we go. And then on here... Oop, nope, moving the wrong thing. Main model, make myself a tiny bit bigger. There we go. There we go. We did it. Anyway. Oh, God. Do we want to make decisions matter? This could be fun. It could also mean our favorite people will die. Casual's a good place to start. Yeah, no. Sure, you can connect to the internet. You have my permission to use the internet. Oh, while I'm at it. Oh, what? I have no idea what I'm looking at. Okay. Alright. Hello, sir. Uh-huh. I'm gonna say that they made a mistake going into this fight. I don't know. It feels a bit stacked against them, doesn't it?
Ladies.
That's a horrible, like, arm guard, by the way. The horns are, like, kind of really easy to... Oh. What? What? Bro whipped out the SWIP. The sword whip. Athena? Uh-huh. Oh, she has like the mean sword. Okay. So she has a wriggly sword, which is really fucking mean.
Do you recall the Red Canyon?
No.
You'll die. Die.
Oh, okay.
You took everything that I loved.
Ma'am, you good? She needs therapy. Take his fucking sword. Like, bro is a really good sword. I'd steal it. Commit a bit of,
Now, Mother.
Oh. Oh, no. I'm sorry, girly. Is time being rewound? Is that what we're doing here? That is what we're doing, isn't it? I see. She needs therapy. Wait, you're telling telling this isn't what therapy is like? I mean, it can feel like it. It can feel like you're fighting your demons quite physically.
What could have brought you here?
Is that fucking Morgana? Wait a minute.
I wonder how you got in here.
Yes, I knew it. One moment, Morgana. I'm making a change. It was annoying me. There we go. And then I can move myself tiny bit to the right. There we go. Yeah, we did it. All right. Now then.
It is most rude to interrupt a moment of repose. Very rude indeed.
Well, what can I say?
Now come to me.
Rip Bozo.
I wish to have a look at you.
Yeah, I just burnt my mouth on tea. Oh. Let's go! Yes! I am woman.
I have not seen the likes of you before. Who are you anyway?
Well, I'm CovenAmaris, Fae Princess of the Moon, puppy cat, and funny girl extraordinaire. Oh. What? If Faye was in there, I mean... Oh, hi! Hello, Sulking Sender. Thank you for the raid. Hello, Sulking Sender. Thank you for the raid. AJ Zinbei, happy to see you both. I hope everyone's doing well. Hello, Nelia. I'm not cute, how dare you? Wait, was Xander interviewing you, Nell? Is that what was happening? Pokemon is great. Yeah, I bet. I'm not playing Pokemon today. But hi, hello, welcome in, Raiders. All of you, I know all of you. But just in case, we have to do it. Hello, welcome in, Raiders. I am CovenAmarisVT. I'm your local Fae Puppy Cat and Princess of the Moon. I hope you're all doing well. Make sure you go eat, you go drink, and you use the bathroom if required. Make yourself comfortable, and we're happy to have you all here. Thank you for dropping by. Yeah. Enjoy your time here. Coven, you cute. No, I'm not. Am I a ghost, a demon, or a mortal? That demon. Sure.
Do not deceive. You would do well to keep your wit in line.
It was not a real question. I'm gonna go eat a water. Good luck. Don't droke. Don't droke. Fine.
I see. Then you must have a name of sorts. Go on.
Yeah, it's your mom. Oh my god. No. Coven actually fits. Let's go. Wait. 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 I mean, there's no crown, but we can have the heart. If you have a flower, there is no flower. That's sad. We'll use the star. There we go. There we go. Yeah, have fun, Gwen. Try not to droke. Oh, okay. So you're not allowed to use special characters. Aww. Hello, David. Thank you for dropping by. Happy to see you. Thank you. Add a TM. Nah.
Huh. I shall not ever
I'm not allowed
grow
to use special
accustomed to the
characters.
sound of human names.
Yes, houses of 3. Yeah. I have to choose between Team Mystic, Valor, and Instinct, right? The box art really makes them look like Pokemon Go. Coven, I hope you know I love Fire Emblem games. Well, I hope you enjoy watching me play them then.
You must possess a day of birth as well. Beneath which moon and on what day were you born to this world?
Baby girl, I am the moon. The fuck you mean, beneath which moon? Ugh. For anyone who wants to know, I was born on June 4th. It will be fun, yeah. 3 houses, very good. I hope so. I'm really excited to find out.
Well, wonders never cease. It seems we share our day of birth. How strange.
Fuck off. No, she says that to everyone, right? I'm playing on normal and then Primi recommended casual for the consequences. I'm just following her advice. She's the one that got me to try the game, so. But there's no fucking way. She always says this to people. I refuse to believe.
It all feels so familiar. I think it may be time for yet
Belt.
another nap.
Can I have your crown? If you're gonna sleep anyway, can I have the crown?
Time to begin.
Green hair character, it's your birthday and I need it now. Little meow. Especially if you don't know or understand the mechanics. I mean, yeah. I don't know how long it will be for me to pick it up. Also, do y'all like the new model? Hi, I actually look like the redesign now. I did it.
Time to wake up.
Alright, Dad.
Were you having that dream again?
You're not actually my dad, are you?
You've described her
I
to
love
me
it.
before.
Yay! Thank
I don't
you.
think I've ever met anyone
Also,
like that.
a character from this game is upside down on the cover. I know, it's so silly. I almost forgot since Nelia is here. Here's a shout out to Nelia. Funny fact, Gerald voices Theo Swarcher from Court Steel. That is a fun fact. I don't know what game that is. You've described, I don't think.
In any case, just put that out of your mind for now. The battlefield is no place for idle thoughts.
I love purple and you're almost exclusively purple. Yeah! I did such a good job on this one. This took 4 hours today.
Risking your life is part of the job for mercenaries like us.
Okay, so
Letting
you're
your
not my
mind
dad.
wander is
Okay.
a sure way to get yourself killed.
Purple is such a good color. I know, right? I love it.
Okay, time to get moving. Our next job is in the kingdom.
Yeah, there's only one. There's only one kingdom. So much that they earned the title, The Kingdom.
I
The
told
one
you
and
before,
only.
it's far from here.
Thank you so
we'll
much,
need to leave at
AJ.
dawn.
Wait, let me actually pin my Twitter post. Because I made a Twitter post about the redesign. Because I now finally managed to officially announce my... because it's now finally done, I was finally allowed to announce the... Or, well, I was always allowed. But now I finally managed to announce my character sheet. So my ref sheet's finally open, public knowledge now. It's far from here, so we'll need to leave it done. Yeah, sure.
Hmm?
Hey, look, it's
Good grief. Everyone is
Jiraiya.
already waiting for us outside.
Who? Also, hi, welcome in, Epic Sex Guy. Thank you for the first time chat.
Gerald, sir, sorry to barge in, but your presence is needed.
Oh, okay. I see. Everyone seems to know this guy's from Naruto. I'm just the only one who doesn't.
What's
I
happening?
don't watch Naruto. Sorry.
Please forgive our intrusion. We wouldn't bother you were the situation not dire.
No, that's understandable. So that's Team Valor, that's Team Mystic, and that's Team Instinct. They're Pokemon Go. The glorious house leaders. Hello, Red Leader. Thank you for dropping by. Thank you for the first time chat. Happy to see you.
What do a bunch of kids like you want at this hour?
We're being pursued by a group of bandits. I can only hope that you will be so kind as to lend your support.
Sure.
Bandits? Here?
It's true. They attacked us while we were at rest in our camp.
We've been separated from our companions and we're outnumbered. They're after our lives, not to mention our gold.
Okay.
I'm impressed
Fair
you're
enough.
staying so calm considering the situation. Wait. Uniform.
Bandit spotted just outside the village. Dead.
I love
There are a lot
chat
of
right
them.
now. This is silly.
I guess they followed you all the way here. We can't
Oh,
abandon
hi,
this
David and
village now.
Sax. All of you know each other. That's crazy. Hi. Make yourselves comfortable. Thank you for dropping by.
Come on, let's move. Hope you're ready.
I am so ready. For what? What am I doing? Dear Lord in the 9 circles of hell, what am I doing? Yes. This is a good decision. Are you ready to run hands? I think so. The Three Houses community is strong. Yeah, apparently. It's cute, honestly. I'm really happy Crimmy got me into the game now. Like, I'm looking at this. This is just making me very cheery. Because they're asking you to run hands. What does it? Oh!
Let's take care of those
I
thieves
see.
before they overrun the village.
Mhm.
Take down the enemies in front first. That should take the wind out of their sails.
Can you pick us up? We're scared. Yeah, no, fair. Okay. I get the kind of movement in combat. I haven't played a game with this kind of movement in so long. Oh my god. Yes.
I will prevail.
Okay, so I fucking move you there. Attack. Yes. Oh, this gives me nostalgia. The house leaders. Oh yeah, no. This is nostalgic. Wait, no one told me there was gonna be a fucking banger. Wait a minute. Oh, I wish I could turn it up. Fire Emblem series producer Intelligence Systems also made Advance Wars. Yeah, that's the game I was thinking of. Hell yeah. Okay, I am Three Houses Full is absolute bangers. Yeah, I'm just kind of sad that I can't make the audio louder. I'll see if I can do that in a second. A weapon will break when repeatedly used. No, not durability. How could you? Okay. Is there no settings menu? Well, that's unfortunate. Okay, you have a horse. But I cannot... Okay. That confuses me.
I'll cut
This
through.
will, but it's fine. You move there. You attack. Oh, and we can use a combat art. And then it's all... it's likely gonna die. Okay. Okay, that's just fucking overkill,
next?
but I love that. Battle menu. Use the battle menu to create bookmarks, saves, view tutorials. Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense that it's...
Ready and
faces,
willing.
I guess. Alright. Chill out, my man.
Stay
you...
focused.
Move on. I can talk. Yes, of course.
You have a strange aura.
Hey, I know we're like fighting for our life, but hey, let's have a chat. How you doing, mate?
You say you're a mercenary, so show me what you can do.
You're the one that fucking missed.
Thank you. We are in your debt. Please.
Wait, why are they getting
It's
heart?
because I didn't expect to run.
I don't really care about your... Hey, give me the heart. Another certain character witnessed the glory of Redacted. Edelgard clocked us as an
We'll
autistic
advance
frame
while
one
protecting
day
ourselves
down.
from
Yeah,
the
no, for fucking
Take up
real.
position
They got called
inside the
out.
forest.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Certain terrain will have effects on... Yeah, okay. Makes sense. Yeah! Okay! Ooh, I like that. So if I go here, we have more defensive.
Yes, good. If we're
Ha
in the
ha ha,
forest, we
I'm
can
learning.
sustain their attacks without
We're
losing
fucking
the
learning
advantage.
now. Forests are not the only terrain. Yeah, no, I figured, but it literally tells you what it does, so we're good. I don't have to pretend like I can read. So I can't. So bro can not chill. Wait. Why can we not go into the forest? That's interesting. Gerald is so proud of you right now. I'm so happy about that. Gerald, there is no escape. Deals critical damage. Bend it. Oh, shit. Now, I'll pretend like I get that joke. Wait, you have a bow and arrow. Okay. Okay. Uh-huh. Yes. I know what I'm doing. Since it's my first ever time playing any Fire Emblem game, I went with normal casual. Much better recommendation of Crimson. Oh, what the fuck? Yeah, no, attack us again. That was great. We dealt more than you did. Yeah. Get fucked. Idiot. Huh. Oh, and then there's also an ally
Fine
phase.
opportunity.
I see.
It's the combat arts I taught you.
I already used those, but thanks. So... Okay, hold on. You have a bow and arrow. Can you just, like... 5 HP, 5 HP, 2 HP. You kill bro. No? Am I dumb? Hold on. You have a bow and arrow, right? Yeah. So do I still need to be next to them? No. Okay, so we can attack from a distance. It's like 2 tiles. Okay. Reading chat right now is like when I'm hanging out with Germans and I know that I should just laugh when everyone's laughing despite having to like, no, that's what I'm doing. I try and understand what I understand, but if I don't get it, I don't get it. I'm just happy to see people having fun. That's... No? I might not always get what they're saying.
The golden deer for
And maybe
you.
that's for the best. Avoid spoilers and all that, you know? But I'm just happy to see the chat just having a good time. Ha! Get dicked on, idiot.
Is that all?
Meow. Good stuff. And then... you... kill. I like your name a lot. Edelgard? Edelgard. It's a lovely name. I like it. Okay. And we can... They put some high stuff in 3 houses for everyone to still talk about it after 6 years. I guess. I mean, I was basically told this is the best game to start the series with. Yeah, no, I'm loving the music. It's great.
Yeah, they're mercenaries in the village. Guess we'll have to deal with them too.
I just wiped out like 5 of your boys, and you... Did you get dropped as a child, sir? You did, didn't you? It's not your fault that your parents are neglectful. Bro thinks he stands a chance. Yeah, so true. Not the Costa slander, Lamau. Oh, did I commit a crime? I apologize. Had to be done. Wait. You move on. Yes. You move on. Yes. So you're gonna do a funny. It's called flanking. When the bandits lost, the Costas... That cost us the battle! I shouldn't find that so funny, but that's really good. What? Bro, you talk mad shit for someone who didn't even hit. Meow. Oh no. Oh. Oh, shit. Congrats, Dimitri.
I'm getting stronger.
A pun on Costas. Is this some kind of joke? Yeah. Oh. Well, ignore the battle royale. Nope.
Attack when an ally is nearby, and the enemy will be intimidated, making them easier to hit.
Oh, okay. So having your having your people stand next to each other. Hell yeah. Okay, makes sense. So if I move you there, then you attack. No, you're not. Oh shit. Oh shit. Whoops. You go there, you attack. You take out Boyo. Arrow to the knee. Ah, congrats, Flawed. Edelgard, Edelgard.
Well.
Mitsuru and Elizabeth from Persona 3. Wait, original or reload? Which Persona 3? Ah, fuck, I should have killed the other bandit first. No. Original, not reload. Ah, okay. So, whoa. Oh, I see. That is Zawado.
Honestly, what are you accomplishing with that little stunt? It's like you're
Hi, Morgana.
trying to get me killed, you fool.
The fuck you mean, Morgana?
Well, it's fine.
I don't know what you
After all,
mean.
if you don't know the value of your own life, you're not going to protect it very well, are you?
What?
Of course not. Well then, I guess it's up to
Stepped
me
in
to
a
guide
bag.
you from
Well,
now on, right?
out like 3 houses.
You can call me Sothis. But I'm also known as...
No, you're Morgana. I'm sorry, bud, but your name is Morgana, and I will call you nothing else for the rest of this playthrough. I apologize. You're Morgana.
Sothis. Yes.
Nope.
That is it. My name is
Nope.
Sothis.
No, it's not.
And I am also called the Beginning.
No.
Who once called me that?
No, you are Morgana, and you're a cat. Stop trying to be a human. It's not working. I can see through the disguise. Just estimate. I'm the other way. I will see Morgana and say you're Sophas. Yeah, well, I have like 2,000 hours in Persona 5, and I've only barely started this game. Hi, my name is Sopha Morgana.
I was not able to recall my name until just now.
Well, you're misremembering, but
And
yeah.
just like that, it came to me. How odd.
Do I have to fucking almost get murdered more times for you to remember shit?
That look upon your face. Did you think me a child?
Yes.
A mere child who forgot her own name?
Yes. You're a child. Right? Is that the most gorgeous CovenAmarisVT on my screen? Hi! Hello, doggy! Happy to see ya! Same voice actor as Yubel from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I have... Oh,
Phooey!
the wings!
That child
Yeah!
just saved your life. And what does that make you?
An adult who was saved by a child? I don't like my options. Where's the actual CovenAmars response better than you? I'm no child.
Such arrogance. You look the part, but are you truly an adult?
Alright, you versus me. Let's get drinking, kid. I'll outdrink you 7 days to Friday.
You threw yourself before an axe to save just one young girl.
That's heroic in some cultures.
And all is well, as I have stalled the flow of time for now.
Okay,
You would have
Dio.
died had I not intervened.
You and I are not gonna get along, are we?
I do
If I'm
not
so
hear your
important, start
gratitude.
acting a bit nicer.
Perhaps I should force you to leave?
Perhaps I should fucking die. Apparently that fucks up your plans. If I die, you die. Did you forget about that? I'm glad you like the model.
There now.
I really
Is
like this model.
gratitude so much to ask? I did deem you worth saving after all.
Yeah, and I'm deeming you a cat.
Though it is only momentary, time has stopped. However did I manage that?
That's concerning.
When time begins again, the axe will tear into your flesh and you will surely meet your end.
Was he sure it wasn't an accident? Oh my god. Well, that sucks.
How rude of you to drag me into this.
I didn't do shit. You chose to act.
What to do?
I don't know. Turn so we can rewind time.
Of course. I must turn back the hands of time.
If I could turn back time. Oh. Oh, okay.
Yes, I
So
do
you're a
believe it
chronomancer.
can be done.
What the
You
fuck?
really are quite troublesome.
No, I'm also just really smart. I made you remember that you could do this.
I cannot
me some
wind
credit.
back time too far, but all is
Killer
well.
Queen
You
bites
are
at the...
aware of what's to come, which means you can protect yourself this time.
I'll try.
Now go! Yes, you who bears the flames within. Drift through the flow of time
Enjoy your
to find
lurkies,
the
AJ.
answers that you seek.
Uh-huh. Yes. Uh-huh. Thank you. I'll do my best. So we have the power
Hey, over here!
of God and anime on our side, you could say. Also, I regret to
Hey,
inform you all.
did you
I've
just-
already made my decision, I think. I have to pick between these three. I'm picking Team Red every single day of the week because I'm a lesbian. Sorry. She's hot. And, like, it's red. She has, like, a cool cape.
The Knights of Seros are here. We'll cut you down for terrorizing our students.
Dude, you're way too late.
Hey, the thieves are running away. Go after them.
Yeah, you do you, bud. Are you ready to join a house? Wait, right now?
The students seem to be unharmed. And who's this?
Why him?
Neat. Ish. Yay. Yeah, he's pretty. Also chose path redacted because of reasons redacted. Thank you. I do appreciate if you could all redact the spoilers, that'd be lovely. Thank you.
Captain Gerald?
What?
It is you! Goodness, it's been ages!
It's been ages. Yes, it has. How you doing, mate? I don't know who you are. Water Embler, I wish. Oh, hi, Deadly Sun. Happy to see you again. Interesting how the game starts on an in-game date of 420. Did you notice? I did not. All it was English VA is Knuckles from Sonic the Hedgehog. Huh.
Don't you recognize me? It's
Ah,
Alois,
fuck.
your old right-hand man.
Well, I cannot
Oh, no,
hear it
stop
now.
for a second Anyway,
That is Knuckles. That is no one but Knuckles. Well,
oh, it must have been 20 years ago that you went missing without a trace. I always knew you were still alive.
You haven't changed a bit, Alois, just as loud as ever. And drop that captain nonsense. I'm not your captain anymore. These days, I'm just a wandering mercenary.
yes.
One who has work to do.
More scout.
Goodbye, old friend.
But I'm also the type who
Right.
doesn't care about spoilers, so I'm here
Goodbye,
to be confused.
Captain.
Probably just like you.
Wait,
Yeah.
that isn't how this
So far, it's
ends.
just been fun.
I insist that you return to the monastery with me.
And I insist no.
Garrig Mach Monastery. I suppose
No,
this
you
was
can
an
just say no.
And how
Like
about
this.
you, kid?
No.
Are you the captain's child?
I am wondering the same question. Yes. He is
that
my
so?
dad.
Well, physical differences aside, your mannerisms do remind me of the captain.
Yeah, he's my...
I'd love for you to see the monastery too. You will join
Nope.
me, won't you?
Nope. Nope, I shouldn't. I really shouldn't. I really... Phoenix Wright ruined me. I guess you could say he's my daddy. There we go. Am I not gonna be reprimanded for calling him my dad? Is he actually my dad?
What's troubling you, Captain? You aren't about to run off again, are you?
Sir, are you or are you not my father?
Even I wouldn't dare run from the Knights of Seros.
It's not running, it's declining an invitation. But are you my dad?
The Knights of Seros. They do seem rather skilled.
I don't know anything about Fire Emblem, but I know a non-spoiler when I see one. That's so true. I don't know if this man's my
It
father.
seems your presence is required. Get going.
Yeah, sure. No, command me even more, Morgana. Even in this game, you're only mildly useful.
I appreciate your help back there. Your skill is beyond
He's my
question.
dad! 2 seconds later. Wait, he's my dad? I still don't know! I don't know if he's my dad!
You're clearly an experienced mercenary. And your father, that would be Geralt, the
So he
Blade
is?
former captain of the Knights of Seros.
Is he or is he not? I don't get it anymore.
Have I missed
This started
anything?
as a joke.
How curious. I'd wager the explanation for that is fascinating indeed.
Yeah. Oh shit, I didn't notice the ads. Let me know when the ads are done. If the ads are done, I don't want to leave people in ad hell. Oh, I forgot to add the flavoring. Lamau. One moment. I gotta add some flavoring to my cake. Be right back. Okay, see you in a second. Quick second as well. Need to clean some stuff. Or not. Spoiler. Wait, no. No, I'm not doing the rest of that. There we go. Okay. Are we ready for me to continue? I hope we are.
Hey, you are coming with us to the monastery, right? Of course you are. I'd love to bend your ear as we travel.
All right.
Oh, I should mention that the three of us are students of the Officers Academy at Garrig Mach Monastery.
Got
We
that
were
much?
doing some training exercises when those bandits attacked. I definitely got the worst of it.
That's valid.
That would be because he ran off.
Too true. I was the first to make a strategic retreat. Everything would have worked out if these two hadn't followed me and ruined everything. Because of them,
yes.
every single one of those bandits chased after us. Utterly ridiculous.
Sending a signal to the other ships at sea, except it's just me beatboxing.
Ah, so that's what you were
I'm
thinking,
out.
Claude. And here I thought you were acting as a decoy for the sake of us all.
His intentions were as clear as day. You will prove a lacking ruler if you cannot see the truth behind a person's words.
You will prove a lacking ruler yourself if you look for deceit behind every word and fail to trust those whom you rely on.
Oh, joy. A royal debate between their highnesses. I wonder how being completely predictable affects one's ability to wield power. Personally, as the embodiment of distrust, I'd say your little exchange smacks of naivete.
Me, naive. Tell me, are you actually incapable of keeping quiet, or is your lack of self-awareness a condition of some sort?
I like her.
In any case, forgive our digression. I must speak with you if you can spare a moment. The way
yeah,
you
sure.
held your ground against the bandits' leader was captivating. You never lost control of the situation.
Your skill is precisely why I must ask you to consider lending your services to the Empire. I might as well tell you now, I am no mere student. I am also the Adrestian Empire's
Princess.
Halt, Edelgard. Please allow me to finish my own proposition.
Okay,
The
well,
Holy
don't fight
Kingdom
it.
of
Well,
Fargus
no,
is
do
in
fight
dire
it.
need of exceptional individuals like yourself.
Yeah, you
Please,
lost me at the word
do
holy,
consider
mate.
returning to the kingdom with me.
Whoa there, you two sure are hasty. Trying to recruit someone you just met.
You see,
Tactless,
the
really.
moment you whip out
I
a
was
word like
personally
holy,
planning to develop
you
a deep
kind
and
of
lasting
lose.
friendship on our journey back to the monastery before begging for favors. But it seems there's no time for niceties in this world. So, capable stranger, let's get right to it. Where does your allegiance lie?
It seems one's place of birth is quite significant to them. Yet they are so impressed by you that you may take your pick. Well,
I may take my pick. How lovely. Answer. So, yeah, you lost me at the word, like, holy. Ain't happening. That's just Britain. Like, just... Wait, what's that in English? What's that in Britain? Leicester? Either way, Adrestrian. Easy pick.
A wise choice. Though the Empire has fallen from its former glory,
Eh.
the other regions are merely offshoots that pale in comparison.
All right, that's enough with the small talk. It's time to head back to the monastery.
Yeah, I don't think this was small talk.
Looks like
This,
we'll have to pick
this
this
felt
up
like a bit
another
of big
time.
talk.
my, they are in such a hurry. You know, each of the three is most unique.
Yeah, they're color-coded. She's a refined young woman. But I feel as though she's always evaluating me. That's... no comment. He seems quite sincere, but I sense darkness lurking beneath. Well, yeah. Bro's weird. His easy smile is striking, but that smile doesn't reach his eyes.
Yes,
So he's
I
fake.
felt the same. I am so sleepy once again.
Bro,
I may be sleeping.
Sophus, you got fucking narcolepsy? Oh my god. The fact that the character voiced by Morgana is the one that's constantly sleepy is really funny. Go the fuck to sleep.
Part
White
1.
cloud. Oh,
White clouds.
sorry.
Great tree moon. 3 houses.
You could have one sentence.
The icy winds of the Agma Mountains have begun to scatter,
Whoa.
and the verdant fields once again spring to life across Fodlan, heralding the start of a new year.
Yes.
As they celebrate the dawning year, the people pray that they may realize their full potential, just as a tiny sprout hopes to one day grow into a great tree.
Yes. Huh. Okay.
The continent of Fodlan, said to be protected by a revered goddess,
I see Rome.
has existed since time immemorial. Three ruling powers now control the land. In the south lies a region long held by a more than 1,000-year-old dynasty, the Adrestian Empire. Beyond its borders, to the frigid north, is the home of the Holy Kingdom of Fargus, ruled by the royal family and its knights. To the east, a league of nobles that heeds no king nor emperor rules what is called the Leicester Alliance.
Yeah, so it is Leicester. Okay.
Once consumed by a tempest of war and turmoil.
I'm sorry, but
and these three mighty powers now
Empire has a
exist in
hard
relative
going.
harmony.
Like, look at that coat of armor. Just hits. Hits hard. Oh, what the? We get anime? Oh yeah.
This will be your first time at the monastery.
Correct.
I'd be happy to show you around.
It really is Fodlan in a nutshell. The good and the bad.
Like it or not, we'll be there soon enough.
That is a monastery.
There it is.
Pretty big.
Garrick Mock Monastery.
Garrick Mock. What a name. This looks interesting for a monastery, that's for sure.
Ray is here.
Who? Oh. Oh! Oh! It's Miss Stabby Stab from the beginning.
I wonder.
Doesn't your
Did the
crown...
flow of time bring you here?
Wait. Can I see her crown again? It looks a lot like the one that Morgana has. What was her actual name again? Lithos?
It's been years since I've last set eyes on this place. To be forced to see her now,
is she my mom? Wait a minute.
I've never spoken of this to you before, but many years ago, I was a knight here. I reported to the Archbishop, Lady Rhea.
Yeah?
As you know, the majority of folks in Fodlan are devout followers of the teachings of Seros. The leader of that ridiculously large religious organization is the Archbishop, Lady Rhea.
Thank you for your patience, Gerald. My name is Seteth.
So it must have been Sorgana, yes, of course.
Right. Hello.
Alwa had a coffee drink known as Garrick Macchiato. Oh, come back.
I wonder, was it the will of the goddess that we have another chance meeting like this?
Is it just me, or does her crown remind... Like, her crown reminds me of the one Morgana has? Are you my mom?
Forgive my silence all these years. Much has happened since we last spoke.
So I see. The miracle of fatherhood has blessed
okay, well that confirms that he is my dad.
Yes.
We finally confirmed
Born
it.
many years after I left this place. I wish I could introduce you to the mother of my child, but
oh, okay, well, nope, she's not my mom.
I see. My condolences. As for you, I heard of your valiant efforts from Alois. What is your name?
Okay, I'm sorry, but that's not pronounced Alois. It's Alois. It's supposed to be French, isn't it? Whatever. My name's Coven.
Fine name indeed.
Sorry, can I romance the Archbishop? What was that heart?
From the bottom of my heart, I thank you for saving those students of the Officers' Academy.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm now pledged to the Empire. I guess. What?
Gerald, you already know what it is I wish to say, do you not?
Just say it.
You want me to rejoin the Knights of Seros, don't you? I won't say no, but...
Your apprehension stings. I had expected that Alois would have already asked this of you. I must step away for now, but I expect they will desire a word with you soon. Please listen carefully to what they have to say. Until tomorrow.
Okay.
Farewell.
Okay. This is... The story of this game is really interesting.
I can't believe it. Forced back into the Knights of Seros.
We weren't, though. We could have said no. Finished CA. Congrats. I haven't.
I'm sorry I dragged you into this.
Absolute
Looks like
Cinema.
I'll be
I look
stuck
forward
here
to playing
for
more
a
of it.
while.
But
And
right
I'm
now, this
afraid
is my
your
hyper
services
focus.
are requested as well.
What?
Nothing like that. They want you to teach, by the sound of it.
Excuse me, what? Alright, well, Coven becomes a programming teacher once again, I
You heard
suppose.
those brats earlier talking about the Officers Academy, right?
Yes. I paid
Well,
attention.
The Academy just happens to be short a professor.
Uh-huh.
And apparently that damned Alois went and recommended you to Lady Rhea.
I just made a very important connection in my head, and it's purely because I am on a subreddit called Wholesome Yuri. I see. I didn't expect us to be a teacher, but suddenly a lot of... I'm starting to understand. Spoiled by Yuri. Yep. Well, not as much as I think I have, but I just realized that anytime I've seen Yuri posts that mention professors, I thought the character looked familiar.
So, you must be the new professor. My, how
Yeah, I guess.
stern and handsome you are.
Don't talk to me like that.
No.
Oh.
I'm not the one you're looking for.
We're talking to me.
You can handle things from here. Good luck.
Yeah, no, leave me alone with the
Watch
weird
out for
lady.
Lady Rhea.
Thanks.
I don't know what she's thinking making you a professor like this. She may be up to something. Stay
Yeah,
on your
she's
guard.
playing you, bro.
Oh, it's you then? So young.
That should look down on me.
Competence and age are not necessarily correlated, as you well know. I am
roasted.
Hanneman, a Crest Scholar and Professor at the Officers Academy.
What's a crest
I
scholar?
wonder if you bear a crest of your own.
What's a
When
crest?
next you have a moment to spare, I insist that you pay me a visit so we can delve into the subject further.
Yeah, sure.
I'm Manuela. I'm a professor, a physician, a songstress, and available.
No.
It's nice to meet you.
Be gone. You're a physician.
I look too pretty for that line of work, do I? But yes, when I'm not teaching,
I
can
don't
be
like
found
this
in the
lady.
infirmary. If you're ever lonely, please do come and pay me a visit.
Do people like this
I
girl?
love.
Spare our colleague the needless
I
chatter.
like
Manuel.
Hanuman. Bro's actually like a good teacher.
Now then, it seems you'll be taking charge of one of the Academy's 3 houses.
My wife. Oh. Such as the Hunter Crest or the Reaper Crest.
I
Yes.
expect you haven't yet been briefed on the nature of each, have you?
I apologize for flaming your wife, Crimson. She's interesting. I hope so, but she does not present herself very
Do
well.
you really not know? Fine. I'll do you a favor and explain.
No offense taken. She's a hot man.
The Officers Academy is
That gets me
comprised of
more
3
interested
houses
than
of
what she's
students,
actually said.
each of which is
Uh-huh.
closely affiliated with its region of origin.
Yes.
The Black Eagle House is for students from the Adrestian Empire. Their
Yes.
house leader this year is Edelgard, the Imperial
Oh, it's pronounced
princess,
Edelgard. Okay.
who is in line to be the
Gotcha.
next emperor.
Mm-hmm.
The Blue Lion House is for students from the Holy Kingdom of Fargus.
No, the Blue Lion House is for pretentious little shits. No one who puts a lion on a banner is not pretentious.
Their house leader this year is Prince Dimitri. He used to be the next king of Fathers.
Bro is pretentious.
Lastly, there is the golden
Oh my god, a deer!
House,
Hell
which is the
yeah!
students of the Leicester
Based!
Alliance.
I love deer.
Their house leader is Claude, grandson to Duke Regan, the leader
Okay.
of the Alliance.
To think that the next emperor, king, and sovereign duke are all here. It certainly is a promising year for the Academy.
That certainly seems like a great decision.
I'll say. I just hope none of those little treasures cause any trouble.
Darling, they will. Of course they will.
Quite.
The founder of
For now,
Gryffindor, I separate art
suggest
from
taking a
artist.
stroll around the Academy to get your bearings. And when you have a moment, stop by my research laboratory.
The old
Yes.
man has a point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and keep in mind that I've only notified the house leaders that you're our new professor. It's more fun that way.
Is it now? You...
I suggest
Uh-huh.
you try spending time with the students. Some odd ducks in that bunch, but they're good kids. I'm sure Lady Rhea will have more information for you tomorrow, but
Okay.
that should get you going.
Have you no
Okay.
intention of changing your mind, Rhea? Appointing a stranger, a child no less, as a professor at our esteemed academy is...
I have made my decision, Sedith.
Wait! Wait, is her voice... Is that Makoto?
I know worrying comes naturally to you, but there is truly no need. That stranger is Gerald's flesh and blood, after all.
Oh my god! We're just getting a bunch of people from Persona 5 in here, aren't we? Jeez. Okay, cool. Book can be good. Okay, let's not talk about... Let's just not. No, we're not going into that.
I can't say that's all too comforting. How trustworthy is this Geralt character? Is he not the man who went missing after the Great Fire 21 years ago? I would remind you that Flame is now here with us as well. I beg of you, please consider whether this is an
Sedith, they have my trust. Let that be enough for you as well. More importantly, I have received a report from Shamir. I am increasingly concerned about a matter regarding our
No, I
suspicions.
just don't want to talk about Rowling ever. That's more my thing.
We cannot ignore those who harbor ill will toward the church, especially if they are frequenting Garrick Mach.
Yes, that matter is of great importance as well. I shall continue my investigation. Rhea, for now I will have faith that you are placing your trust with the utmost care.
I am so confused as to what's
Pray that
happening
nothing
in the
occurs to
story.
shake that confidence.
So we're a teacher now. That's I've gathered that much. We are now in charge of school. Of wakey wakey, it's time for school. I like the little loading screen. It's covered by Loire, but I like our outfit. Oh, I like her. Okay, well, Mr. McEvil Face is standing behind you, Edelgard. Careful with that one. Oh. This is very cute. This is very wholesome. Oh. Well. They really want us to like Mr. Blue Man, huh? I'm sorry. He failed the Coven enjoyment test. He didn't pass. I'm sorry.
Of course.
Alright. Okay, so we get to actually explore. That's sick. Whee! Look at me run! I know I need to talk to her. Oh.
Ha! I imagine you were a bit surprised that I recommended
Is
you as a
everything
professor.
in this game voice acted?
Frankly, we
Does
had
that be
someone
cool?
else in mind for the role, but they ran off during our dust-up with the bandits. Can't entrust students to someone who's abandoned them once before, huh?
You saved the lives of the students you came across. That, at least, was admirable. Now you should make the round.
Okay. So... Huh. I wish I could up the music, but sadly, we can't. I don't need to fuck with settings. Alright, what's up, Rhea? What can I
I
do for you?
assume you are already aware that you will be teaching here at the Officers Academy, correct?
It's been made clear.
Please speak with the 3 house leaders. You should also take a look around the academy and acquaint yourself with your new home. That is your first task here at the monastery. Please let me know if you accept it. Once you have finished,
Why not?
come and speak with me.
Alright. I can do that. Few quests.
May I ask a favor of you?
Yes. So, speak to the 3 house leaders and gather information about the students in each house. Yeah, sure. Okay. Can do. We got the zoomies. Oh my. Oh. No. Let me talk to her.
Hi. Yes.
Hi. Hello.
So, you've accepted a teaching position here. Pity. I was hoping you would lend your strength to the Empire. I never properly introduced myself, did I?
No.
My name is Edelgard von Hresvelk. I am the
Nice to meet
princess
you.
and heir apparent of the Adrestian Empire.
Congrats.
I wonder if you'll be tasked with leading the Black Eagles.
I
I
wonder.
hope you've had a chance to meet everyone. Would you like to know more about any of the Black Eagles?
Yes. Mr. McEvilface. Tell me about him.
Hubert is the heir of Marquis Vestra. He has served me since I was a child. You may think his blood runs a bit cold, but actually that's rather accurate. Still, if you can get past that, you'll see he's quite astute and reasonable.
I really hope he's not evil. Okay.
So, you've accepted it. I hope you've had a chance to meet everyone. Would you like to know more about any?
Okay. 423.
Yes.
Huh. And then we have Yellow House. They like chilling outside, I guess.
Well, well, scored a teaching gig here, did you? Talk
guess.
about a great first impression. I guess that means I'd better introduce myself properly. I'm Claude von Regan. I'm from the ruling house of the Leicester Alliance, but don't worry too much about all that madness. I'm guessing
not
you
worried.
don't know which class you'll be teaching yet, do you? I bet you'd like ours. We're not as difficult as the other 2. Have you met the folks from the Golden Deer House yet? Care to know more about anyone?
The one that looked really interesting, Hilda.
Hilda is the only daughter of Duke Goneril. It seems her father and brother coddle her quite a bit. If you look up lazy in the dictionary, her picture won't be there because she never got around to submitting it. Not too unusual for a noble.
Hi, Denny. Thank you for dropping by. Okay. Well, you can call her lazy. I think she's cute. What about you, then?
Piqued your interest, have I?
Sure.
As luck would have it, I'm
Well,
pretty
good
curious about you as
meowing.
well. But what's life without a bit of mystery? Let's just spend the next year or so learning about each other little by little.
Okay, then. You are sus.
Yeah.
You're sus, buddy. I just have to speak to them, right?
Hello.
Well, it looks so good.
Please
Thank
accept my
you.
apologies for the other
I'm
day.
really happy
You
with
came
how
to
she
our
came
aid,
out.
Yet I
I
hadn't
did
even the
such
courtesy to
hard
properly
work.
introduce myself. Of course, at the academy, I am simply a student. And I've heard word that you are to become a professor here. Delightful news.
Yes.
I still have much to learn, but I'm confident I could benefit greatly from your guidance. In any case,
I
welcome
hope
to the
so.
monastery.
Thank
I hear
you.
you're investigating the different houses here. Did any of the blue lions catch your attention?
I guess. There's like, I don't know, Ash looks kind of interesting.
He's the adoptive son of Lord Lenato of Castle Gaspar, but I hear he was born a commoner. He has an extremely earnest personality, so I'm certain he will approach your lectures with great enthusiasm.
Yeah, but why call him a commoner? Why did you feel the need to point that out?
I appreciate your effort.
I just don't like this guy. I'll continue exploring. I want to look around. Oh my god! Please let me pet the cat. Can I please, cat? Please let me pet the cat. I'm not allowed to pet the cat! But I'm so happy there's a cat. This is a pretty cool owl. Hello. I'm a teacher here, apparently.
Yes.
Yeah. Professor's rooms are on the second floor. Okay.
Hi.
Refund the game, you can't pet the cat. I wish I could, but I can't. But also, I actually don't wish I could. I find this quite fun. Who are you then,
I'm
kiddo?
real busy, so could you please move along now? Thanks. Okay, now, what else did Lady Rhea need doing today?
Alright. Need to be big about it. Oh, hi, Dad.
Here I am again, the office of the Captain of the Knights. That said, I'm merely here to assist. Apparently, the current captain is getting on in years.
Thank you for the
I hear
half
the captain has a hard time keeping up with the responsibilities of the job. That's where I come in.
So basically, you're there to... Yeah, no, like, that's the thing. It's the same model, right? Oh, yeah, no, because you can't pet the cat. But you can pet the... Yeah, no. Hold on. I have, like... something on my fingers. Ah! I am very dumb. One moment. There we go. Also, is it just me or does this armor look really cool? Like, I know it's like low texture, but it looks sick. Like, that's a cool looking armor.
Hey.
Oh, yeah,
Hello,
yeah, sure.
Professor. Dropping by so soon? Are you ill? This is the infirmary, you know.
I'm just trying to get to know everyone.
If you're ever wounded or sick, do feel free to drop by.
That's the
Or
plan.
if you would like a nice cup of tea. Would you? Well, some other time.
Yes. some other time. Oh yeah, you wanted to do crest stuff, whatever it is.
My research laboratory. I've worked hard to furnish it with the rare materials and purpose-built equipment required for my work.
Yeah. What could this crest be? I don't know, purple? It's just purple. I'm not allowed to do that yet. Okay, bye. Blessing of the goddess upon you. Thank you. Which goddess? Hey, what's the goddess's name? Is it Morgana? Because if it's Morgana, she's like in my soul. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Oh, wait, this is a monastery. I should definitely not say that. Blessings of the 9 divines upon you too. Crisis averted.
Welcome to the library. Here
Thank
you
you
may find literature from the far reaches of Fodlan. I am Tomas, the librarian. If you have need of me, do not hesitate to ask. I have worked here for... I have lost track of the decades, it seems.
That's motley concerning. But okay, that's cool. Can I, like, fast travel? Is that a thing? I like... Oh, I can do map. Let's go. So, I'm supposed to... Shit. We can't fast travel. Got my hopes up. I was punished for getting my hopes up. Yeah!
Let's see.
There's also the chance that I read it wrong. Not uncommon. Oh, wait, we're supposed to be here. Yeah, sure. Let's talk to her.
How are you enjoying your time at the academy thus far? I hope you have found our halls brimming with the vitality of well-intentioned souls.
I think so.
I suppose it is time for you to take charge of one of our 3 houses of students. I must note that I am personally against entrusting someone as lacking in trackable history as yourself with such a task. But it is.
You're just jealous that she trusts me more than she does you.
The black eagles, the blue lions,
El
and the
Bozo.
golden deer. All so different. I hope you've made it a point to get to know each of them.
Since you are new here,
Sorta.
we have decided to allow you first pick. Manuela and I will take charge of the remaining 2 houses.
Wait, I get to choose... Oh, yeah, of course I get to choose a house. Hey, welcome to Fire Emblem 3 houses. Oh my gosh, I get to pick? I'm a dumbass. Also, I'm sorry, Loire, but I do notice there's stuff in the corner, on the left corner, constantly, and I kind of want to show it to everyone. Yes.
So you have chosen the Black Eagles led by Edelgard, correct?
Yes. Also, I'm wondering what the better place for my model is. People who actually know this game, are portraits mostly on the right or on the left? Oh my god, hi, Omega! Happy to see you. Thanks for dropping by. Oh, you're dropping a care package. I have liquid. Thank you for the hot bath! Krimi, if you're still there, what's a better place for my model? Right or left? Which is the better decision to put myself? Because I don't want to cover too much of the screen, but also I do want to stand out. Like, if it's better for me to be on this side. Portraits are on the right the whole time, I believe. Okay, then I will be on the left side of the screen for today's stream. We'll see. So you've chosen the Black Eagles led by Edelgard. Yes.
Your heart has made
Oh, sorry,
choice,
stretchies.
then.
And posture
All
check,
I
yes.
ask is that you guide these open minds with virtue, care, and sincerity.
They are all promising youths who bear the weight of Fodlan's future upon their shoulders. I hope you appreciate what an honor it is to lead them.
Brother?
Yeah?
Oh, I am so sincerely sorry. I did not mean to interrupt.
No, that's all right, kid.
Something, Flame. Is it urgent?
No, it's nothing. More importantly, who is this?
I'm
This
a new teacher.
is our newest professor at the academy.
Oh my!
Yes, up.
A new addition to the Officers Academy. I am
Yup.
so very pleased to meet you, Professor. I
Why are
am
you slamming the
Seven's little
desk?
sister, Flame.
Oh no, wait, it's
I'm so
Roomba. I
happy
thought that
to
was a
make your
desk lamp.
acquaintance.
But hi, yeah, no, happy
Let
to see
us
you,
focus
Omega.
on the
Always happy
topic
to see you
at
dropping by.
hand. There is something you should be aware of. In a few days' time, there will be a mock battle between the three houses, intended to gauge the current progress of the students. We will be using this battle as an opportunity to ascertain your own abilities as well.
You're
Please
just being
do not disappoint
bitchy.
the Archbishop.
Bro, grow up. I've been enjoying the game quite a lot, actually. I think it's fun. Some of the characters
So
are a
our
bit
new professor is
wacky.
you? I didn't see that one coming.
Easy, Caspar. Aren't you being a bit rude?
You know it's a waste of time to expect
I-
politeness
okay.
from him.
Nah, boss is showing favoritism. Can't allow it. Yeah, no. I'm just gonna say it. Objectively, the Red Faction, I forgot their name already. The Black Eagle has the best looking characters. I'm sorry. These are just all the best looking. Sorry. Objectively the best faction.
It will be a pleasure learning from you, Professor.
Really hoping they don't have like fucked
Now,
up
if you'll
war.
excuse me, I'm off to take a nap.
Valid.
Don't look at me like that. Oh,
The hot house.
please don't talk
Yes.
to me too much either.
I like her! Shy, timid, purple hair. What more is there not to like?
I'm sorry for the chaos you've walked into.
And I like her hat.
I hear we are rather close in age, Professor.
I just like... Okay, well, you know, he's attractive too.
I hope you do not mind if we treat you like one of us.
Yeah,
In our
sure,
class, we try to treat each other as equals, despite
Uh-huh.
any differences in
Mhm.
age or status.
That's nice and all. I'm your fucking teacher, mate. Shut the fuck up.
Personally, I would love to include you in that inner circle.
Mm-hmm. I don't mind.
You have a gut, Professor. I will take great joy from your teachings.
I like your
Petra,
eye
I believe
coloring.
you mean to say that our professor has guts. That's a bit different from having a gut.
Okay, let's not be
You can't
mean.
go around saying someone so slim and attractive has a gut.
Okay,
Oh,
all right, I'm still your teacher,
I have
kids.
not yet mastered
Try
this
not to
language.
flirt with me in the first 10 minutes.
I want you to know that it's perfectly acceptable for you to treat me as you do the others. I may be the Imperial Princess, but here at the Academy, I'm
Uh-huh.
just another student.
Yes.
That said, know that I have high expectations of you, and high hopes.
Exactly, half an hour
But
is
I'm
fine.
certain you
but
can lead the Black
First
Eagle
20
House.
minutes is just too early.
Sure. Now let's break the ice with a training session. I want to see our new teacher in action.
Uh,
Why will the ice be broken? Is this a custom I have missed in my studies?
is her whole bit gonna be that she's a foreigner? And she doesn't understand anything? Because I feel bad for her.
Not real ice, just the ice of, well, it just means let's get to know each other.
I don't want to train. Let's stay in the classroom and learn from a book.
Yes, I'm hereby declaring self-study.
Let's all calm down and have a nice cup of tea, how about? Doesn't
Ooh,
that
I
sound
do
lovely,
love tea.
Professor?
Oh my god, is this the game Tea Time's from? Wait.
I know we all agree to treat each other as equals, but there is a limit to what I can tolerate.
Uh-huh.
The esteemed Black Eagle House requires order.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. Also, kid, you already have a German name. Behave yourself. So, it's tea time is a
Looks
quote
like
from
your
Fire
first
Emblem
job will be
Engage, but
quiet
there's a lot
down
of
this
tea time in
racket.
this game too, okay?
I don't envy
I
you.
see.
They're not normally this rowdy.
I'm glad Crimson said it for me.
I do hope you can manage, Professor.
If you all fuckers listen to me, I can manage. I love your eye color. That's a very nice piercing purple. So, yeah. It's combat time. I am actually loving this game. Lurk, I'm in my semi-annual Terraria season and I want to play it at all times, so have a fun stream, y'all. Yeah, no, thanks. I hope you enjoy having me as background noise. There's new places to visit. You received 1,000 gold from the Church of Ceres as funding for this month's activities. Okay.
Say, while you're here, I'd like to use this device I designed to determine whether the power of a crest resides within you.
Okay.
You don't know about crests?
No.
Well, allow me to tell you everything.
Yes, please.
Absolutely everything about them.
Yes, please.
Is your calendar clear? This will take a while. Crests are a fascinating topic, but before one can dive deeply into said topic, one must first understand what crests are. They are power incarnate. They are said to have been bestowed upon humans by the goddess countless ages ago. They exist within the flesh and are passed down through bloodlines. Those who carry crests may excel at magic, display exceptional strength, or any number of boons.
Hey, we love
Each
Resident
crest
Yappers.
has its own power, the nature of which is beyond mortal understanding. For now,
and you believe I have a crest?
I suspect as much, yes. But we won't know for sure unless I look into the matter. As I said, crests are passed down through the blood. However, just because someone carries a crest does not necessarily mean their descendants will inherit it as well. Only a scarce few descendants of a crest's bloodline end up inheriting that crest's power.
Okay.
Perhaps one of your ancestors bore a crest, and you just happen to inherit it.
Okay, but what if the goddess is potentially inside me?
After all.
How does that work? Again. Yeah, do what you can to find out.
Yes, of course. I'll get to the bottom of it straight away.
Yes, sir.
Now then, please go ahead and hold out your arm over this device here.
Bye.
What is this? A pattern I've
Purple?
never seen before. Is it possible an as yet undiscovered crest has been detected? To think
Mayhap.
there are still crests out there that even I am unaware of. How thrilling!
Glad you're so excited.
Pardon my unrestrained jubilation.
No, you're fine.
I have much to consider. You may
That's
leave
okay.
now. I
Thanks.
have more research to do in regard to this crest. Yes, so very much more research. But for now, your work here is done.
Thank you.
What could this line here be indicating? Perhaps it represents a lack of symmetry. Or perhaps... What in the world? Oh, I see. It may be connected to that, but to a greater degree.
You kind of need to be able to do this kind of stuff for a living. Yeah, true. Like, for me to be a streamer, I have to be good at yapping. I mean, I get to be quiet during dialogue in this game, I guess. I really hope y'all are having a fun time. I'm actually loving the game. I hope people in chat are enjoying the game. I know we had like a bunch of fans of the game drop by earlier. I hope they're enjoying themselves too. But like, yeah, no, I hope you're all enjoying. I hope you're enjoying yourselves. A quest has been added from Chapter 5 of the main story on...
With each moon, professors of the Officers' Academy receive a schedule for the month ahead. It notes the days on which events and missions will take place that month.
You are giving me one of my favorite parts of Persona 5. Yes! Let's fucking go!
Pay careful attention to your schedule, so that you may thoughtfully plan what you intend to do each month.
Yes! I love calendar systems! Okay, so... Makoto would be the one to tell us to pay attention to the calendar. She's so... Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm only allowed to select today. First day off. We have plans to share a meal, gardening, fishing, seminar. Review this month's schedule. Press A button to review events or skip certain days. So, here's the house rivalry battle. There's also Ferdinand's birthday. Congratulations, Ferdinand. I missed Hubert's birthday. Sorry, Hubert. So... Oh, what? Oh, what? Huh? These are the same. We get outfits? That's... Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, I'm gonna spend so much time in that menu. I already know. So... I can only just explore the monastery now because it's a Sunday. Alright. Coven might explode. Yeah, no. Just accepting how much time I'm going to be putting into that. So... Visit the dining hall to unlock the ability to fast travel there. Okay. Visit the dormitory to unlock the ability to travel there, and then... So basically explore the place to go places. This is the room they give a professor? Come on! Please give me a 2-person bed. Jesus.
So.
But if these are the students' quarters, why do I live here?
These are the students' quarters. To better help you supervise them, you also have a room here. Your room is here at the end.
Well...
Commoner students also reside on the first floor, while the second is primarily for
Can we
students of noble
stop with the commoner shit? They're people. They're children. These are all... Well, they're more like adults at this point. Like, they're all like 17, 18, 19. I don't fucking know. But, like, these are just people. Stop calling them commoners, you fucking classist fuck.
As a rule, we try to avoid discrimination based on social status here. But the nobility can be
No, you don't!
consistent when it comes to matters of propriety.
Shut the fuck up! Fuck you! No! What?
Commoner students also... As a rule, we try to avoid discrimination based on social status here. But the nobility can be quite insistent when it comes to matters of propriety.
You're a church. You're a monastery. You can literally claim... Fuck you.
Speaking of, it would be best for you to avoid improper conduct. I expect you to set
Like
a good
what?
example for the students.
Yeah, my good example is teaching them how to hold a revolution. What's
I'm
up?
not too keen on the professor of my class. I really hope to focus more on strategy. Maybe I should talk to my professor about
You're not joining my class. So you don't like him? I don't know. But he's not leaving a good first impression. That's for sure. Yes. So far, this motherfucker has told me, oh yeah, no, these filthy commoners. We try not to discriminate though, but those filthy commoners. Fuck you. Without commoners, you wouldn't be able to eat, dickhead.
Let me know when you are hungry.
Harumph.
I will
What's
make
up?
you a quality meal, as thanks for your service to His Highness.
I'm not serving him though.
I have a request.
Yeah, sure. I'll do your quest. I don't mind. Hello.
Oh, Professor, have you adjusted to life at the academy yet?
Probably.
I'm still not used to it. I'm not one for all this studying and training.
So why are you here? Like, is school not? Is this not? It's an academy, so it's like voluntarily, right? You don't need to serve under them to someone to serve them. That's true.
Battle between the house. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a bit concerned about facing an elite mercenary like you.
No, we're gonna wipe the floor with blue and yellow. I'm gonna wipe the floor with you both. That's... Ooh, stuff. Ooh, more stuff. There's so much stuff.
No.
Okay. Hello. Here's the dining hall. We dine here. I'm a bit... Also, Crimson, what am I supposed to get ready for? You said, oh, get ready, and now I'm worried.
I'm busy. Do you want something?
Yeah. I was hoping to
I
spar
can't
with
right
you.
now, but let's
Aw.
fight soon.
You're not beating me, buddy. You can try. Your meal has not been unlocked yet. Oh, okay.
Ugh, I really need to eat. I can't hold out
Don't
until
tell
the
him.
next meal. Why can't the dining hall stay open all the time? I need to keep eating if I want to get stronger.
Make your own food. Commit a light bit of arson. Sure, it's fine. Oh, hi! You're the...
Hello, Professor.
Hi. Hello.
Well, I call you that, but I am afraid I am not a student here myself.
That's alright. It's just respect, isn't it?
My brother would not be pleased if he heard you saying such things.
Who's your brother again? Is he the dude that doesn't like me?
The monastery is kind enough to provide a sanctuary for my brother and I. He's the only family I have.
Yeah, no, fair. That's very valid, actually.
Might you help me with a favor?
Yeah, sure. I like you. Your brother is the guy that hates me, right? Because I was given a teaching opportunity. Is your brother the guy who I just yelled at for being classist? Hold on. Oh, wait. Yeah, so because I joined team... Okay. Yes. Interesting. So... You get, like, older characters? Oh, I love that. That's fun. Okay. He doesn't hate you, he just doesn't like you. Big difference. You know... He'll hate me soon enough when I kick his ass. I wish I could, like, look into characters, because, like... Is the character I yelled at earlier, is that her brother? Yeah, right? Me to my reflection about myself? No, don't be so mean to yourself. You deserve love. You're a lovely individual. I promise ya. I promise ya. Spotted Marion. Bulletin. Wait, isn't that the mission I already accepted? Yeah. I was here, actually thought I hated myself. This is progress. That's true. I'm proud of you. Yes, I'd like to please be a good fishing minigame. Okay. Uh-huh. Yes. I'm not good at rhythm games. Okay. So... That one's done. I just need to turn it in then. Right? Yeah, okay, cool. We can eat tonight. Yeah.
The Great Tree Moon is the best. I could just forget all about my assignment.
That's not a good idea. You're literally my student. Go do your assignment. Hello. Yes. So, plant seed. Yes. What is their assignment? I have no idea. I'm just their teacher. I didn't say I was doing a good job. But I'm starting to see the ball. I'm more willing to put... Yeah, no. I believe you're a good...
My thanks.
Don't be too hard on yourself, okay?
Oh,
Oh,
It's easy
did
to
you
be
come
hard
look
on
at the plants
yourself.
too?
It's hard to
The
love
greenhouse
yourself.
here is really incredible. There are so many rare flowers I'd never seen back home, and herbs I never even knew existed. My adoptive father is the real expert. He taught me everything I know about herbs, including how to tell them. You should try looking around the greenhouse sometime
Ash is
if the mood strikes.
precious. He's so precious. Oh my god. Oh yeah, you're cleaning again. Good luck, mate. Professor level. Oh wait, I'm getting graded on my teaching skill. Whoa, whoa. No one mentioned I was getting graded. Wait a minute. That's not fair. I'm not supposed to be judged on my performance. I'm supposed to judge others. I don't think I'll ever reach a state of love, but you will. You will. I believe you will. You absolutely will. Yeah, you'll be fine. I promise. You're gonna be fine. Sorry, I was quickly doing something. Hello.
Well, there's Dorothea, Hilda, and Mercedes. Lady Rhea's quite the beauty too. And
Isn't
I
she
must
like a
admit,
saint?
I've even checked out Professor Manuela once or twice.
Okay.
You know, Professor, I think I'm going to like it at the Officers Academy.
Can I...
Professor, I've got a small favor to ask.
Uh-huh. Can I report this student for sexual harassment? Because that's not something you say to your teacher. I should know. Once again, I am, or will have been, a teacher. S and flippin' age.
Professor.
Hello.
I hope you know I am having great abilities for reading and writing. With sadness,
You're
if my
fine.
ways of
You're fine. It sounds like you're learning a second language, girly. Yes. You're doing your best. That's all that matters. Oh, I can go out to eat with Edelgard. He just wants to compliment you. Oh. Coven Sensei? You should have just said Coven Sensei. No, it was held back for suspicion of spam. So, yeah. It thought you were a bot. Oh my god, people are marked as noble or commoner. Why? Now you're fine. You're fine. You're fine in my book. Well, Edelgard. Oh, what? I can invite 2 people. Oh, what? Let me invite... Yeah, I'll invite the introvert one. She might hate this, but let's hope she likes it.
Oh, I love this meal. How did you know?
I didn't.
Ooh, this is my favorite. You've got great taste.
There's also someone marked as a priest. Yeah, that would have been one of the employees. Cool. I ranked up my professor level. Hell yeah. You will never receive more funds.
I knew I could count on you.
Go. Hell yeah. We return at other mission. You can't really have a church without a priest. That's true. You go from underpaid to underpaid because that's how education works. That's so true. Actually, nah. I got paid pretty decently when I worked as a teacher. To be honest.
Listen.
Like, I really can't complain about how my work was. Because I had a pretty good time. You're marginally underpaid? Yeah, I mean... Again, it was pretty fine here when I worked as a teacher. I had a pretty good time.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Hello, Professor.
Hello.
I have a teeny tiny question for you, if that's
I'm
all right.
literally your professor. That's what I'm here
You
for.
haven't seen a man with hair the same color as mine, a scowling face, and a generally gloomy demeanor, have you? Well,
that I remember.
It's a bit difficult to explain. Please just let me know if you do see him.
Hi. If I do, I'll let you know. Alright, let me go talk to my house leader.
Hello.
Hi, Dorothea.
How are
you
you
doing?
doing?
I'm doing alright.
If you're
Are you?
not busy, would you like to join me on a
You
little
go from
trip
very
into
underpaid
town?
to underpaid because...
If
Oh,
I'm
wait, I
cooped
already...
up in this dusty old monastery for too long, it drives me absolutely crazy.
Quake, some would even say. Quake, some would say.
What the?
Oh, bulletin board. I already did all the bulletins. Okay. Hello.
Let me tell you the provenance of our class name.
Are you the same
The
color
eagle.
as
that
the
refers
girl?
to the twin-headed eagle on the Adrestian Empire's coat of arms.
Uh-huh.
And black is the traditional color of the Empire's armor. Hence, Black Eagles.
That's a very boring name. I'm not gonna lie. You do you. You did a good job, I guess, but I think it's a bit of a boring name.
Before
Hello.
I came to the Officers Academy, I attended a school of magic in the Kingdom Capital. That's where I met Annie. That's what I call Annette. Oh, I guess Lawrence was at the School of Magic too.
That's
but
really
Annie was always
sweet.
just so nice to me, even though I was older.
Yeah.
She's my best friend in the world.
Aww. Oh, hello.
Story. The Blue Lion House derived its name from the honorary title of the first king of Fargus.
Okay.
Luke, the king of lions, wore brilliantly blue garments. His chivalric exploits
so
are
it
recorded
begins?
in multiple legends.
What's begun?
The library holds various historical accounts. If you find time.
Hi, Professor. If you're not busy, if I'm cooped up in this dusty old monastery for too... Hi,
Yeah,
Professor.
sure.
If I'm cooped up...
If the game would let me, I would have gone with you, but the game said no. I have to talk to my house leader first. Let me go find her.
Listen to this.
Yeah, what's up?
Ritza sure seems strong.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of thought he was going to be the new professor assigned to our class. After that teacher ran away during
Well-
our outdoor training, I figured Yuritsa was a natural replacement. I was surprised when you were suddenly appointed professor instead. I don't think I could hold my own against Yuritsa in battle. I could probably take you, though.
You want to try that theory? Oh shit, my trekking is running out of battery. What's that? There we go. Not a
You really
chance.
think so? With enough training, I'm sure I'll beat you someday.
Hold on. Please charge. Okay, it's charging. Let's go. Trekking has been reacquired. I say that. Putting it back in the stand is a different story entirely, I suppose. There we go. I did it. Alright. There we are. Hello.
Some believe the dignity of the Empire rests on the results of the mock battle.
I
That's
guess.
an overstatement, of course. Still, we must do our best to prevail. You should take the time to learn each student's abilities. Perhaps some extra lessons and training sessions are in order? You look as if you have no idea what's going on here. I know my way around, so I'm happy to help you find your footing.
Thanks. I have already figured all of these out.
The monastery has some exceptional facilities that everyone who lives at the Officers' Academy is welcome to make use of. For example, you can enjoy a meal with your students at the dining hall, or take part in some one-on-one sparring at the training grounds. I suggest visiting the various facilities whenever you have the time to spare. It's a great way to get to know the students, faculty, and various workers here.
Yeah.
Have you noticed the bulletin boards?
I have. You don't need to explain that one.
You should take your time when speaking with everyone. But when it comes to using the facilities, well, you need to be more careful about that. If you use them without planning ahead, your free time will be
like I
gone
did,
before
yeah.
you know it.
Okay. I did do that, yes. Cool.
A great deal is expected from professors of the Officers' Academy, so it's important to hone your skills. To put it plainly, you'll need to keep expanding your knowledge of all disciplines, not just battle.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Cool. You saying you done goof? Well, no. It was clearly intentional. Because it was literally through a mission. But yeah, no. I did
Dimitri
do...
and Claude are the leaders of the other two houses. When we take the field, it would be best not to engage the both of them at once.
Is that a catchy?
Dimitri and Claude are the leaders of the other two houses. Do not underestimate them. When we take the field, it would be best not to engage the both of them at once.
I do believe that that could be a catchy. I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe there's a chance. I will be right back though. I'm gonna use the bathroom, take a small break for something. You want me to look up the VA? Yes, please. But yeah, no, I will be back in like a moment. Sit tight, enjoy yourselves, and I will see you in like a second. Take your time. Will do. Not the right text, by the way. Be right back. Right. I will be right back. Miss me. Shit. Kidding. I love you all. But yeah, return. Oh shit. Dropped everything. What? Oh. Whew. Welcome back. Thank you. It is cold. I was cold. I have been cold. Ooh. Okay. Thank you for the headbats. Yep, seems like Akechi and Hubert are voiced by the same guy. I'm so good at recognizing voice actors. Holy. I'm, like, actually impressed with myself. So, I basically have nothing else I can do for today, I believe. I mean, I can try and find all the other students I haven't talked to yet.
Yes.
Oh, I need to turn off the audio on my phone. Like, I can find all the students I've not yet spoken to, but it's like, why? I also had students ask me to go out with them, or to, like, help them train. I can see if I can find one that wants to train.
Hey.
Oh, hi.
I'm Captain Gerald's first and best apprentice. I can beat
Hi.
anyone, Professor. Even you, if I have to. It
Yeah,
may have
sure,
been
but-
only for a short time, but I learned from the absolute best.
Yeah, well, my class is learning from me, and they're gonna kick your ass. Because I am the best of the best, so I'm gonna kick you into the dirt. Yeah. There's a very competitive spirit in this academy, isn't there? Can I go fishing again? Or did I already use... Yes? Yay, I can go fishing again? Let's go! You do know she was bragging about being trained by your dad, right? Yeah, well... Look, I'm just saying. If she was trained by my dad in a school environment, imagine what I must be like after being trained by him in a being his daughter environment. Just saying. Neat. Cool. I like the fish.
Dear Goddess. Goddess.
Hi.
I pray to thee. Please protect us.
From what? If you're worried, kiddo. Well, I'm kind of here, but, you know. Hope you're alright. Oh my god, doggo! It's a dog! Hi! Oh, what? Ooh. Does a goddess need specifications for protection? Well, yeah, I guess.
The Imperial Princess, the Crown Prince, and the heir to the Alliance's leading house. This is one exceptional year.
Am I the only one that feels like there's a plot afoot? Like, come on. We have three of the most important people on the continent in one place. Protect them with your lives, people.
Professor, I hope if my ways of speaking...
No, you're fine. You've done nothing. Done nothing wrong. No, I'm not ready. I wanna...
Yes.
Hello,
I'm
Felix.
busy. Do you want something?
Alright, well, fuck you too. I'm looking for that one student who wanted to spar. Where'd she go? They'll be fine. Yeah, true. They will. They'll be fine. Yeah, you wanted to spar, right?
If I'm cooped...
Never mind. Okay, in that case, I am done. Oh my god, we skipped so many days. It's Ferdinand's birthday. Yeah, sure, it's his birthday. I want to give a birthday gift as much as I can. Alright, so today, no day is unimportant. Let me do teaching stuff. Okay, cool. Yeah, okay, sure. Mission time. Not as the ads start. That's unfortunate. We're gonna change the title. 1.5 a view. I low-key really love this game already. This is so much fun. There we go. Done. Just waiting for the ads to each over. Just waiting for the ads. We are waiting for the ads. Waiting for the ads. Okay. I do believe ads are done. So let's go. Cool. Go on then, narrator.
It's finally time for the mock battle. This is my chance to measure your worth as an instructor. Do you think you can rise to the challenge?
Oh. I love the new Pokemon. It's so fun, but it refused to let me save. Just let me save. You get to save soon enough, I swear. Nah, leave it to fucking
so confident. This will be interesting. Each of us has undergone strict training. We're prepared for anything that comes our way. That means there's no need to hold back.
You'd have gun
Show us what you're capable of.
Hey there. Did we miss our invite to this strategy meeting? No, no,
No.
worries. We'll just join in now.
Simply tell me your weaknesses and you're welcome to stay. But is there enough time to cover them all?
Ah, so you can't win unless you know my weakness. Poor princess. You really should believe in yourself more.
I spare no effort when pursuing victory. As a master of schemes, I should think you would understand.
As a master of schemes, damn.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right, students, please stop throwing fake shit. I think you haven't heard of. No, I've not. Sorry.
Your Highnesses haven't known me for very long, but you already have me figured out, don't you?
No need to poke fun. I will fight with honor. That said, I will fight to win.
Yes, and the same is true of us. Right, Professor?
Of course. I just have to quickly do something. There we go. Gonna go to bed now because I don't go to bed early. If I don't go to bed early today, I will go back to hating myself in the morning. Okay. Have a good night.
No
Sleep
use
well.
trying to hide how you really feel, Teach. I can see it in your eyes. You don't intend to lose.
Oh, how precious. Looks like you and the students have become fast friends.
While I am pleased that you are taking the initiative to acquaint yourself with the students, I'm afraid it's about time for the faculty strategy meeting.
Ah, how time flies.
How time
In that
flies.
case, I'll see you later.
Edelgard.
The game doesn't have an
Professor?
autosave feature. You have to manually save. Though the spin-off game Luminous Adventures IX has the opposite problem, where you can't manually save. The game only has an autosave. Bruh. All right, we get to combat again. We're not going for kills. We're just trying to prove our superiority. So we've now unlocked magic. Okay. Choose the unit option to determine whom to send into battle. Okay. I see. You get used to it. Fair enough. You have a bow, you have a sword. You're a noble, you're a commoner, you're a commoner, you're a noble. Okay. I wonder if that matters at all. So you have magic. You have... I don't know. Holy shit. Alright, one moment. We got a spreadsheet a little. Professor's guidance. Multiplies this unit's and adjacent ally experience gain. That makes sense. So I want to be near... Welcome back, Denny. What's the plan, Teach? That's what we're doing. So, I need to be near my units while they slay someone. Okay. So... Okay, so Coven and Edelgard are forced to be in there. Gotcha. You have a miasma, which is basic dark magic, because of course it is. You are so going to be evil. I just know you. This class can use some magic. Okay. So... This class can use some magic. So what's the fucking difference? It ain't easy being calculating. No, I feel like I don't even have to, probably. I'm probably overthinking things, but... So... You have magic. You have... That's for a bow. So I don't see much of a reason to use you. Then again, that's good. Oh, I meant Hubert's personality. That's fair. Okay, you have really good weapon skills for a lance. You're using a lance. I think it makes sense to have you join us. You. If I unequip that, I can change their abilities. Okay. We are learning. So, you have basic light attack, magic, recover HP equal to 50% of the damage dealt. Okay, you are joining. Easy. You do not need dark magic stuff if you're not even using dark magic. Trey. So you would want okay, so I can't trade between them then. Alright, never mind then. Then there's no point in unequipping. Alright, well, we learn something new every day. I want you because of your magic. You have an iron bow. You have lance prowess and bow prowess. You have magic. I don't want too much magic. So we have a lance. We have a magic user. I think you. So you have thunder. You have a bow that you can use. Alright, we're gonna use you then. Yes. That will be the team. So they have personalized inventories. Okay. Noted. Combat art. Mine. Okay. I am learning Italians? The heck? Alright, I feel like some of this stuff is for later. Okay. Let's just, we're just gonna try our best. Yes. We so got this. I believe. I believe. Rout the enemy. All your units fall in battle.
The mock battle is finally here. Will you lead us to victory?
I will definitely try. So...
I'm sure you're already on. Incidentally, I'll be overseeing this mock battle. So listen well if you want to win.
Incidentally.
Stay focused.
You got this. Oh, welcome back, Crimson. Thank you. I will definitely try. I'm gonna put teacher there. You're gonna wait. Bow and arrow behind the teacher. It's best if we stay grouped up, but we'll find out if they have AoE abilities. If they do, that would suck.
I will prevail.
Yes, you will. Stay there.
I am Ferdinand von Eyre.
We're not really fighting this round anyway, so you go there. Nice.
None of your shallow tactics are required, Claude. Ignatz and I will dismantle the opposition.
Me? But I'm not ready.
All right, then.
Are you making light of our new professor?
Yep.
You drop your guard, you're gonna get hurt.
Ash,
They will.
Can you move to the front lines? I want to lure the enemy this way.
Got it, Your Highness. Leave it to me.
Once you finish preparing, make your move. Did you? Mercedes?
So it's a 1v1v1,
Keep our enemy occupied until then.
right?
I'm on it.
So is it a free-for-all or is it me against you?
Oh my.
What is the reality here? Okay. Nice. Makes sense. Good job, mate. You managed to stay standing. That's all that matters. That's okay. That's better. Good stuff. Edelgard, congrats on the rank up.
That
You're
won't
doing
do it
great,
all.
girly. What? What do you mean? You're doing great. Okay. I want you to... She didn't like her level up. Yeah, apparently. I want you to attack that guy. This is okay. Not the end of the world. Now, you. Can you use your bow and arrow to knock the guy out? Yes, you can. You'd love to see it. Get him knocked out.
I've lost? Oh, unthinkable.
Yeah, cry and weep, but good stuff. This is why she's my favorite student. I'm gonna move you over there. You're going to... Oh, hi, welcome back. Hubert laughs in Akechi and has Professor Snape vibes. I'm still happy I managed to recognize the Akechi voice actor. You're gonna go combat art smash into him. Oh, nicely done.
Your defeat was inevitable.
Yes, it was. Good job. All right, magic user, stay close, attack. Yes. I wish you could deal more damage. Is that possible? No. That's okay then. Deal as much as you can. Unfortunately. Yo! Ash, what the flip? Why are you shooting twice? Okay.
Well done, Teach. I may have to take this seriously after all.
You always had to, buddy. You should have read the fine print. Yeah. But it's fine.
So strong.
Very well done, my beloved students. Okay. You can heal. I say she moves back in first. Wait, no. You. I move you forward. We're kind of chilling. I want to make sure we go in well prepared. So if we wait here,
I'd
you...
like to take it easy.
Yeah, and I'd like for you to assist, heal. Who needs it the most? Well, he needs it the most. But... Okay, heal that one.
Thank you.
Good job. Well done. We can set up defensively a little. Wait there. You move there. We wait.
Are you really gonna fight two houses at once? An impressive display
Was
of
that not...
confidence.
The plan?
This is a good opportunity for us.
Whoops.
Let's forge ahead.
Well, let's clown on them. I didn't realize that this was that they were just gonna wait. But that's fine. We can work with this. Okay, wait. The bow and arrow can hit now. That would suck. I also want to get our archer closer. Wait there. Healer. Assist. Heal. It's not really necessary, I feel, is the thing. Does he have like a healing item for himself? Greetings, Coven, mods, and chat. Hi, Bacon. Happy to see you. It's been a while. Letting the opposing teams wipe each other out out first is a sound strategy. It so is. How do I know what this does? I don't know what this item does. Oh, that's how you do. Okay, just press X. Cool. You heal yourself. Mr. Spearman, I want you to join in to the defense. Oh, hi! Hey, Alex! Welcome, welcome, welcome. Having some fun people dropping by. Oh. Stay in the trees. Seems like the gang's back. Yeah, for real. Happy to see it. Always makes my day. It would fuck up her weapon durability, but we can afford it. Ooh, that's a lot of damage we take back, though. I don't know. Sorry, I've been absent. No, it's okay. Life gets busy, man. I understand. I fully understand. Happy to see you here. Hope you have a good time being here. Good to see you. And the model is cute. Thanks. I basically worked on this all day. We have like a new 1.5 model. Okay. Heal damage back. Oh, thank you for the posture check and the hydrates. I do have. And hot baths, thank you. I will do stretch. They fell for the trap. Okay, they sprung the trap. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Teacher, flanks, attack. They so fell for it. We are going to deal damage to their archer. Almost knocked them out in one blow. Very good. Then we have our archer, who I want to move in a bit closer. You, use your bow. You're gonna knock out their archer. Nice, you should be proud of yourself. Thank you so much. I am.
This is as far as I can.
That's okay, Mercedes. Take your time. All right, you, spear guy. We are taking out this dude. I want to first use her combat art. Yes. That will do a lot of damage. It will not be perfect, but good stuff. Maybe he misses? He didn't. That's fine. We still have our heal. You. Attack. Iron Lance. Not enough? Okay, combat art. Iron Lance. Knock him out. Alright. One house down.
You should be honored.
Good stuff. You. Assist. Heal. Her.
Well done.
Spear guy. Yeah, no. What can I say? My guys are well trained and organized already. Makes sense you'd go for the fucking bow and arrow. Good choice. How's Fire Emblem so far? I am honestly loving this game. To be honest. I don't know why the music has changed, but I am having an absolute blast. It is dangerous. It's why you're falling back. Curved shot. Oh, boss music. I see. Alright, you got this, Bernadette. Make me proud. Good stuff. I'm easy to make proud. Also, congrats on the rank up. You did get stronger. You're doing great. All right, you can only assist. If I move you 1, I'd rather move the teacher, or i.e. me. Coven, spear guy, throw your spear! Spear guy, my name is Kevin! Yeah. Like, I'm not great with names, okay? There's no difference in iron swords. I am well aware that this is gonna cost me at some point. This is fine. I leveled up!
I'm not setting
Why do you think we all have like a paper on our desks when we're teaching? We don't remember the students' names at first. Right, Edelgard, go in, attack, Iron Axe, knock him out.
It's time. We can finally settle the question of who's stronger.
Yes!
Very well. I accept your challenge. With you as my opponent,
You're gonna get knocked out, mate. Like, look at her. Bonk, you're down. Lay the heck down. No apple on your desk? Nah.
That won't do it all.
What do you mean that won't do it all? You're doing great.
I am so sorry, everyone. The rest is up to you.
All right. Another one down. We have 3 more heals. Bonk. I need to get my bonk redeem fixed, actually. We can heal the teacher to full. She is about to take a bow and arrow hit. That's fine. This is probably the best decision. You are the most tanky. Nice. Spear guy. Sorry, what is your name? Ferdinand. Go into the ice, or go into the bush, and I want you to heal yourself. I like this game. Strategy and story.
No problem. But
yes.
Not much for fighting. Go easy on me.
I'm gonna kill you.
You know that was a joke, right? Jeez, not so much as a smile.
Okay, well, that does not do well with what I actually said. She froze axes. Okay. Well, you missed. Nice try. All right. Our archer. Move in. Combat art. Curved shot. It can hit him. He won't hit us back. Knock down Claude as much as you can. Staring at him with the big old eyes. Yeah. Alright, spear. Move to that bush. Combat arts. Tempest lands. Yes. That's a bit expensive, so normal attack, actually. Ooh. She does more damage than us if I do a normal attack. Alright, well, Tempest Slash it is. Big bonk! Yep, nope, that's fine. Nice. Then, I get in between them. Attack. Normal sword. That would knock him out. I would rather go for her. She missed. Oof. That's rough, buddy. Alright. Then, you attack. Yes. You're going to attack her. Very good. Very, very good. Very good. I love this.
If only my research had such results.
Yes, if only. Alright, you attack. Yes. And that's
a real life
the
princess.
final knockout.
I'll have to
Him.
be careful not to scar that little face of yours.
Careful.
Aww. Big
I'll
talk.
win no matter what, but you're only making things harder for yourself.
Losing hasn't even crossed your mind, has it?
Nope.
Ooh, this will be a bit of a shock.
To shock was your intention.
Too easy.
We missed? Really? I purposefully wanted to knock out with her. To prove how much better we are. Not too funny now, is it? No, he went down.
Perhaps it's time.
Oh, that's so mean.
Yeah, that was nothing.
Good. Alright, avenge our fallen classmate, lads. Why can she not do a normal shot? What? What? You. Move there. Attack. Iron bow. Her. Very nice. Alright.
So,
Awesome.
you've made it past Manuela, eh? I see now I must focus and then make my move.
You fell for the trap the moment you thought you had a chance at all. Level 4 already. Jeez.
It's a long road yet.
Okay, you can celebrate your
My
victories.
guard down. I guess that's a loss for the Golden Deer House.
Yes, it is. But we're not done yet. We have to go knock out a team leader. Bows don't have 1 range. Oh, it's like 2+. Let's see. Right. There we go. I want everyone to stay nicely together as much as we can. Go, Coven! I will try. Alright. You. Yes. You. Don't underestimate the magic users. We move as an army. The music is so good. Holy. She can't make it. Okay. I say let's not risk anything, even. He can hit us there, then he will move there. Item. Heal. Yes. We're going in as full health as possible. 1 attack. Yes. Knocks him down to 1 HP. He hits back. Hurts. We hit him again. Very nice. Oh, I love this. Okay, and then honestly, I want her to finish it. I want you to get the finishing shot in. Very nice.
My goodness. The leadership of someone with actual battle experience.
What can I say?
Well, I was as good as useless.
Can
Yes.
I go now?
We did exactly what we thought we would.
Did I get stronger?
Who's to say? All I can say is we did it. And for that, I celebrate our accomplishments rather happily.
All right, that's that. The winner of this mock battle is...
Did anyone ever have a down?
The Black Eagle House.
It's a shame that one of us
It
did
was
fall.
just a mock battle. We defeated both houses masterfully. Take pride in this victory, everyone.
We sure did. GG, thank you. Oh, what? Okay, I guess you can see who my favorite is, huh? Hell yeah, I love Bernadetta. May have a favorite. Thank you for that pass, yeah. Hell yeah.
My thank you.
My game
Excellent
loads
work
too
today,
fast.
Professor. Though our victory should come as no surprise.
It was easy.
Yes, it was. Further proof that you're well qualified to guide the Black Eagles.
This is true.
That was impressing, Professor. I mean, impressive. We gained a victory because of your great leadership.
We
Don't worry about it.
certainly did. We all tried our best, of course, but we couldn't have won without you.
I was curious what it would look like if you did not hold back, and you did not disappoint.
I dare say we owe our victory to Lady Edelgard.
How so? For that battle, she was only a soldier following our professor's command. Sure, she was an incredibly powerful soldier.
Feeling ourselves, are we? Yeah, I mean, I did great.
I'm all done with being on the battlefield, okay? I'd rather stay back than pursue victory out there.
Yeah, you say that, but you were the MVP.
We only managed to win because we worked together.
Yeah,
Was
sure.
it something I said? Is it so odd, me talking about togetherness? If so, that perception must change. In fact, I'm canceling the festivities so we can discuss this topic further.
No.
I'm kidding, of course. Come on, everyone. We've earned this celebration.
Yes. I'm a great teacher. What can I say? Okay, but like,
Your work with the
I do
students
hope we
was
get to actually
remarkable.
teach.
I can see
You know?
Geralt trained you well. I do hope you were able to use the occasion to bond with the students.
I had a blast. Oh, wait, yeah, I could have talked to them. Right. Whoops.
I'm so happy to hear it. Nothing would please me more than if you used this coming year to grow closer still.
Of course, the mock
Why?
battle was mere practice. The real fight is the battle of the Eagle and Lion, which will take place during the Wyvern Moon. You are expected to properly train your students so as not to humiliate the Academy during the
Oi.
long-held tradition that is the coming battle.
I did a good job. I get to celebrate.
As for today, I have called you here to tell you of your mission for the month ahead. Your class is to dispose of some bandits causing trouble nearby.
Yeah, sure.
Those affiliated with Garreg-Mach Monastery have a moral obligation to help those in need, regardless of social standing. Students are no exception. Each month before the newly birthed moon departs, each house of students must complete their assigned mission. You shall work to complete the task at hand alongside your students and report back to the Archbishop before the deadline. Understood? I will
Yes,
soon provide you with the
sir.
necessary details for your first mission. If I told you now, I expect you would only forget, and I despise repeating myself.
Yeah, of course you do.
I can sense something special within your heart.
Yeah,
I
it's
have high
Morgana.
hopes for you.
Bandits,
It's
they
the...
say.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's the goddess-like cat girl that's inside my heart.
Do you recall when we first met? You shall
No.
not fall so shamelessly again, correct?
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I do remember.
Have you no words for me? Do not tell me that you are shocked to hear from me.
I mean, it's just because it's Morgana's voice
you
actor.
ought to know that I am always
Or
with
actress.
you now. To hear my voice should not come as a shock.
I'm more just surprised that you're awake.
What is this nonsense? All I was told was to kill
That's
as many
him.
noble pipsqueaks as possible. No one said anything about the Knights of Damned Saros being on our trail.
You have proven yourself worthless, distracted by something so trivial. I had hoped you would achieve your goal despite the setback. But now a child of the Knight's former
What?
captain is in play. How interesting.
What? Who? What? Okay, yeah, sure. Fucking Zuko, why not?
This isn't what I agreed to.
Mm-hmm.
Hiring a mercenary as a professor. What was that woman thinking?
Are you listening to me? How do we finish this?
So
You die.
you're so you know, okay. You know of the ins and outs of the academy. You're going to be her second-hand man that's been complaining about me being there. No, I meant more so the fire aesthetic everywhere and like the burning tattoo on his face. But, you know. But I'm just saying, I feel like this guy is gonna be the second-hand man of like what's her name? Zaya?
Underestimating
I'm
the
bad
Knights
with
was an
names.
amateur mistake. One you will pay for. The road to eternal torment.
It's not even the
awaits
same
you all.
voice.
Now I must locate.
Just because
your
it's distorted, I can still hear it.
Wait! Get back here! Damn you!
Yeah, no, I'm like 80% sure it's the same guy. I'm like 80% sure it's the same guy. Either way, it's someone
Part 1. White clouds.
who has an
Heartstring
idea.
moon. Familiar scenery.
Like the fact that they know.
In honor of the saints whose births or deaths took place under this moon, the people perform music once beloved by those divine beings. Whether by harp, by flute, or voice alone, joyous melodies are shared between farmers as they sow their seeds across the vast plains of Tailteen and Gronder.
Okay. Cool. There are new places to explore in the monastery. You got 2,000 gold from Church of Saros for funding. Let's go. We can buy.
As you have already been notified, your mission is to subdue some bandits.
It is the same voice. It's just distorted. Okay, so you're the evil guy. That makes sense.
Our students have been learning about combat through study, but this is a precious opportunity to provide them with practical experience. The Knights will support your mission and are
You're the
prepared to
villain.
offer their assistance.
I refuse to believe you're not.
In short, this is no mock battle.
Okay.
You must be prepared for anything.
You will be.
Receive a message from the Knights when it is time to depart. Until...
Yes,
the last
sir.
time we fought bandits, you saved me. Maybe I can return the favor this time.
If there's a point where you need to save me, that means we've gotten into a fucked up situation.
The Knights are well aware of
No
our
one should
enemy's
need
strength.
saving.
We can count on them to keep the battlefield under control for us. It seems unlikely that we would lose. Still,
Yeah.
let's do all we can to prepare.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
seem well. Are you adjusting to life
Hi,
at the
Dad.
monastery?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I didn't expect that answer. When we were mercenaries, I handled everything. Outside of battle, you didn't have much contact with people, did you? I thought being thrown into a swarm of noble brats to teach would be a bit much for you. But I guess I had nothing to worry about. By the way, I heard about those bandits. Your first assignment is to take them out, right? That's fairly routine for you by now, but don't forget it's the first real taste of battle for those brats. It'll
Yeah,
be
no,
tougher
fair.
to sleep at night if you let one of your little pupils die. So stay vigilant and lead them well.
Yes,
I
sir.
wish I could offer you my support, but Lady Rhea won't allow it. For now, I'll try to figure out what she wants from you. I don't mind you settling into your life here, but don't let your guard down. Ever.
Okay. I'll try. So we really only... No, what? Okay. We don't actually play a lot of different days.
Thank you.
And then now it's the 11th. We get paid. Right? No? But we're actually allowed to do things. Okay. So... days that have a mark on them are days we get to play? Wait, these are marked with a seminar. Can I actually do teaching? Are we actually allowed to teach things? Best game. Best game ever. I love that. Marketplace. Yes, I knew it. Alright then. Oh god, choice paralysis. Sell the used sword. Oh, sweet. Oh, sweet management, Batman. Not the ads. That's just rude. Okay. Definitely keep myself into the best weaponry I can. Allows units to take a certification exam for a beginner class. As in it would let them learn a new class. Alright, look. Definitely buy the key. Definitely buy the other key. I am gonna take a beginner seal. I'll put that in the convoy. Do I need a shield? I don't think I do. She needs... Okay. Oh, weapons... Okay, so that... Yeah, that makes sense. We can't really get better swords. No, we can. We can get steel. I want it purely to have it. Edelgard, I want you to have a secondary axe on you. Just to have it. This guy needs a new lance. Yes. Okay. I want to invest into healing items for him in particular. He has like none. Okay. I have a lot of items now. That's fine. Blacksmith. Yeah, not unlocked. Dying Guilt not unlocked. Okay. Then items. I would like to store. So now we have actual convoy items. Okay. I want to take the steel sword because it feels useful. Yeah. With 3 axes, she has one in spare. As for healing... Oh, what? Wait, so... Oh, because she knocked out the... Yeah. So then... She can take a... Am I correct in this? Can she take an intermediate class then? Am I correct in that? Roster? No. Explore, yes. The select destination to fast travel. Oh, so there is fast travel. Okay. Girl's voice, what could it mean? Don't know, don't care, I'm busy. Because I want to... Is it a reclass? No. Not a reclass. Okay. Items? Bernadetta. I must be missing something. Combat art? Is that it? No. Battalions? No. I don't fully understand some of this stuff because it's not been explained to me, but I'm trying my best. Alright, journal. That's just unit appearance. It's not like we got new appearances, did we? I don't know, Bernadetta? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yes. Oh my god, I love this. I can just feel... What are you looking for? I was trying to figure out what the seals actually do. Because Bernadetta has an intermediate seal, but I have no idea what it actually does. She has it, but... I don't know. Something tells me that it's something I can't actually do it. But never mind, I'm on hella delay. Let me refresh. No worries. I should probably actually lower my restart. We love mobile Discord. Do you? What happened? Do you know? Don't you mean mobile Twitch? Oh, are you laying down? Are you having a bit of a lay down while enjoying the stream? Also, well, to answer your question, I was looking to figure out what to do with the intermediate seal, and I'm gonna quickly use the bathroom. I'll be like right back. Alright, I'm back. Oh, you're right. I'm finna fall asleep. I knew it. I can explain the seal thing when you get back. Yeah, I would appreciate if someone could explain it. Also, I'm like 80% sure you've already fallen asleep at least once, Crimmy. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just wonder how the hell you managed to sleep to my voice. I'm like yelling half the time. But yeah, no. Could someone explain the seals?
Would you kindly do something for me?
I've slipped to your voice a few times, Coven. Thank you. I just don't understand. I feel like I'm really loud. I need to learn to manage my loudness. No, we are not using activity points yet. What? Oh, hi. I'm so sorry I was ignoring you.
I've got to find out everyone's likes and dislikes so I know what to cook. Who knows when it'll be my turn at kitchen duty?
When it's available to use them, but...
Do you like sweet or spicy food?
Okay. In that case, maybe don't worry about it then. I'm just being too early on them. Oh, I prefer sweet.
Same. I'll definitely remember.
I love sweet.
Huh? You think I would be a good fit for your class?
I can steal students?
I'm not sure. There's still a lot I want to learn.
You can steal students? Let's go. I am now on a quest to get every single student into my house. I will steal them all. You see, you're all nothing more than Pokemon to me now. Gotta catch them all. Not something you'd want your teacher to say. But that's fine. Hello. This is the main story.
Hey,
hello.
Do you know how old Captain Gerald is?
That's enough, Leonie. If I don't know, how could my child know?
It's not normal to forget your own age, you know. It's kind
Isn't
of
it?
worrisome, actually.
Oh.
By the time you're forgetting your own age, you're past the point of caring.
I guess if you put it that way, you've got a point.
I guess? Can I recruit you?
I hope we get a chance. I know I'm in a different...
Yeah. I want to recruit
Professor,
them.
Hey, do you know how old... It's not...
By the time
I guess if you put it that...
I
You
have
quest.
a request.
Yeah, what's up? I'll get it done at some point. I'll take the quest. I'm not promising that it's getting done now. How the seals work is as follows. Once your unit is high enough level, you can use the seals to promote them to another class. That's all you need to know for now. I'll explain it more once the option to promote a unit becomes available to you. Yeah, no, thank you.
I hear you've been tasked with hunting down bandits, right?
Yes, sir.
Meanwhile, my class is stuck with a downright peaceful mission. Sounds like you'll be fighting alongside the knights, too.
Okay. Will do.
Your performance in the mock battle was exceptional, Professor.
Thank you.
You have inspired me to follow your example and study even more diligently. Perhaps we could train together sometime.
No.
It is better if you do not approach me. If you spend too much time around a man of Dusker, there will be rumors.
I don't think I care. You seem chill. Don't worry, bud. If you're chill, then why would I care that people will spread rumors? I spent my entire school career having rumors spread about me. I didn't give a fuck.
That's so.
Granted, some of which were valid. Some of it. Like the arsonist rumors. Those were valid.
Professor?
Professor. Hello. What am I doing? Sorry, I got fully fucking... My brain gave up. Apologies. Collect recipes for the head chef, the library... Oh, I have to go to the library. That is... Haha. I didn't know where it was. Ha 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 ha. I'm not as dumb as I think I am sometimes. Ooh, item. Ooh, cookbook. Oh, wait, yeah, that's what I'm here for. And I once again question my own lack of intelligence. Okay. It is reading time. Register of Kingdom Nobles. The register of prominent noble houses of the Holy Kingdom Fergus. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. No. 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 No.
Swimming through a sea of countless books, tracking down that single sought-after volume. How do the poor fools who spend their days sharpening swords and
I just have to say, did Crimson crush on this guy because he loves books? I'm just not interested in reading about different royal houses. Much like the real world, they'll be replaced in the next 100 years.
I'm so glad to be a student here. If only because I get to use this library, reading books from all the regions of Fodlan. I feel almost like I'm visiting those places myself.
Books are nice, can I say? What kind of lore tickles your fancy? It depends. It really depends. Like, I've had a lot of Skyrim lore that tickled my fancy. Usually it's like mythology stuff.
I'd like to.
Never quit
Professor,
you?
I'd like...
Damn it! Love me more. Alright, well. Quests. That one is now done. I gotta go back to the... I gotta go back to the food place. That's called a kitchen. I can speak English. Hello. Oh, yeah. What can I do for you?
Guiding the students in the mock battle.
Thank you.
Taking command like that, simply splendid.
I tried my best.
And bearing the unknown crest's power? Yes, your talents are incredible. And Lady Ray is in...
Cool. How long have I been playing for? Oh, it's been 3 hours. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Where did the time go? That's fun.
Thanks for your help.
Oh. Oh. What? Huh? What? Huh? I didn't mean to finish your quest. I was just grabbing the Chloe thing. Uh-huh. No. 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 No, C's. You're going too fast.
What?
You gotta make up your mind a bit more, game. Either take on a reasonable pace, or slow down a little. I've not been to the cathedral, I guess. And I've not been to the cathedral, I guess. Okay, we have to go to the cathedral, I guess. I suppose we have to move to the cathedral then.
Thank you for paying me a visit.
You're welcome. You have Morgana's voice actress. How could I not love you?
Is there anything troubling you? Or is there
I don't know.
Something I can help you with? Believers live their lives by her sacred wisdom. Please use the libraries. I can often be found here, so if there is ever anything you need, please do not hesitate to pay me a visit.
Is making out a thing that counts as a need? Ma'am? Anyway. Let's ignore that and move on.
Let's see.
Where am I going? You hitting on the head of the church? Yes.
Thinking. What about... Professor, you're the one taking out the bandits?
Yes, sir.
That's one way to start your career at the academy.
The other one was kicking your houses.
I didn't expect they'd order us
ass.
to risk our lives here. Seems a bit extreme, doesn't it?
Oh, so it's a problem with Sylvain. I don't know what you mean.
I was thinking.
Sylvain. It's a problem when Sylvain does it? I don't get it. I'm confused what you're trying to say. I'm sorry. Hi.
I'm bored. Maybe I should go into town. But that will be such
Sylvain.
a hassle. Oh, hi, Professor. I'm rather busy right now, so do make it quick. Are you sure? I thought you'd found me out for a moment there.
Lamau.
A moment, please.
No. Oh, this is the cathedral, I'm guessing. I'm saying you were giving Sylvain flack for hitting on you when you're hitting on the head lady. The thing is, isn't Sylvain a student? There's the difference. I'm a teacher and a student was hitting on me.
Oh, Professor, how are you today?
I'm chilling.
I'm
How are
just
you?
heading out for a mission. I'll be seeing you.
Goodbye. Be
What
careful.
makes you say that? Do you know something I don't? Are there supernatural elements at play?
Are you fucking... Okay. Noted. Paranoid man. Hello.
Bridget has much more warmth than Fodlan. Even spring here has coolness. And you, Professor?
Yeah.
Which do you find is worst? Too hot or too cold?
Oh,
But
fuck
you
hot
are
weather.
very many things, Professor.
No, I'm sorry. I ain't gonna lie for romance. Fuck hot weather.
There are way too many vegetables in today's meal. The ratio
Didn't she
of
basically see you as a student in her eyes?
skewed.
No, more like a colleague,
Professor.
I'm guessing.
Were you just eavesdropping on me? Well,
Yes. I was eavesdropping. Don't pretend like you mind. You all are more than happy the second I drop by and give you any attention. Which I don't know what that says about your schools, or like about your families. Are all these poor students just like attention starved? Is that what's happening here?
a lifesaver.
I know. Thank you. Select someone to cook with. Yeah, but this will take... No, I don't want to spend energy yet. I want to get things done first. I've talked to you. You're an activity, so I can't do you. So, that leaves the question. Go to the cathedral. Meow. You running away. I already talked to all of you.
Professor?
So this is the cathedral. How do I get inside? Oh, like this. But I have been here. No, wait, this is the normal mission. Nope, I'll be back later. Apologies. I'm trying to find a place.
Let's see.
Past here to the left? Yeah, that looks like a key.
Well.
No, that looks like a key. This is not a cathedral.
Do you know of the Eyre family? We have long held the position of Prime Minister in the Empire.
You must be lying, because that's pronounced
lies
Ager.
with 6 noble families, my family foremost among them. The full explanation may be time-consuming. I can give you a moment to get ready, if you would like to take notes. All right? There's Caspar's father, Count Burgles, the Minister of Military Affairs. Then there's Linhardt's father, Count Hevering, the Minister of Domestic Affairs. Bernadetta's father, Count Varley, is the Minister of Religious Affairs. Hubert's father, Marquis Vestra, is the Minister of the Imperial Household. Finally, we have Duke Gert, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and my own father, Duke Eyre, the Prime Minister. One day, I will take his place as the Prime Minister of the Empire. I am more talented than anyone in my class, even Edelgard. I will lead the Empire to a bright, enlightened future. There is nothing I...
You're very full of yourself, aren't you? The G is silent? No. No. How it's written. I hate... Alright, let me in then.
Professor.
So this is a post-Viking cathedral. Oh, okay. Interesting. This makes me wonder, were Viking raids a thing in the world of Fire Emblem?
I have a favor to ask.
Because that's the whole reason cathedrals became, you know, walled off and stuff. It was to keep out invading forces. Mainly to keep out raiders. So... Fire Emblem canonically must have had Vikings.
The cathedral is nice and quiet. It's so relaxing.
It's so not
Professor,
quiet.
Did you come to pray to the goddess?
I suppose. Yes, ma'am.
Me too. Shall we pray together?
Yeah, sure. Mercy spotted!
The
What's her
cathedral
name?
is...
Oh, Mercedes. Aww. Fires were a class in some of the older games. I mean, works as well. It's like a stand-in. Oh, it's cute.
Inside the cathedral, there is a chapel dedicated to the 4 saints. Do you know of them? Saint Indek, Saint Macul, Saint Keyhole, and...
Saint Kathleen. Who is your favorite, Professor?
Now that you are a member of the church, be sure to
I am?
familiarize yourself with our teachings and traditions.
She's my dog's namesake. I thought as much.
I have something to ask of you.
Sure. You're still evil. Like, I refuse to believe you're not evil.
It is the duty of every Fodlan noble to demonstrate piety towards Seros. Have you also come to offer your prayers to the goddess, Professor?
I guess.
You don't sound terribly sure. Perhaps you are not of noble birth?
Alright, and I hate you. Goodbye. If you think being of noble birth matters, you are not welcome in my class. Fuck off. How is Mercedes Fire Emblem doing? Is that... Yeah, is that Mercy's full name? Mercedes Fire Emblem.
Right.
Right.
Let's see.
I have to kick out a lot of members of my class, though, if I actually got rid of everyone who...
I was thinking.
Yeah, it's whatever. She's delightful. Perfect. Precious. Wasn't she barking earlier today?
Frigid, Elmira, Thusker, even people from far-off lands gather here at the Academy.
Mercedes Fire
Word of
Emblem
advice,
Benz
Professor.
Keep.
There are those who don't
Mercedes
think kindly of
Benz.
such
Very
people.
nice. I love that. Good one. He gained Dissidence Intel 1. Part. Cool.
What the?
What the shigma?
Hey there.
Learn more about your students who like to sing. Oh god, wait. We know one, don't we? Look, the barking isn't important. That's so true. That's so true. I actually am gonna have a puppy over at my place starting on Monday. I'm gonna be puppy sitting until like I don't know until when.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm gonna be puppy sitting.
So,
I might add some redeems, like give her treats and stuff. I need one of my students that likes singing. You're gonna throw me into a mission. Wait, isn't the lady from the other country? Wasn't she one of the people that like to sing? So give me a song. Don't mind me, I'm just tracking down my students. Oh, that's not my room. Oops. That's my room. Hi! Dorothy!
Oh, Professor. Hello.
Hello. You like singing,
Truth is,
right?
My undershirt got blown away by the wind.
What?
And it's not important why. It only
Treat,
matters
treat,
that it's pale
treat.
blue.
What did I just stumble upon? When she says undershirt, does she mean bra? This is an important question. It's the fucking Ace Attorney panties all over again. Why? I have a question. Forgot. Why? Let's search
Thank
for
you
it.
so much.
Uh-oh. Don't you mean...
what is it? I'm not doing anything.
You gotta say it with your chest. Can't escape it. Is that true? I got hit with the immediate BTR flashbacks. Enjoy.
Cake? Oh, come on. That's just cruel.
I can be cruel. Wanna come out?
What is...
Come out!
Truth is,
BTR was goated. It was. I like BTR. So, alright, let's go find our students. I hate that I'm saying this sentence. Let's go find our students' bra. Got blown away. How far fucking blown away can a piece of clothing get? What? I watch the show a lot. Yeah, me too. Girl. Worms. Is this an actual thing I can find? If so, why? Hello, Thomas.
Do you know about the Cardinals? They are the ones who run the church.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Their identities are a closely guarded secret.
Less how that works. You can Google the Cardinals. Oh, what? Wait. I don't know if I own an amiibo, but I think I own an amiibo like an amiibo card for I own an amiibo card for Animal Crossing. Imagine I try and scan it and it fucking works. But that does look silly. Hello. I talked to you already. I hate to say this, you haven't seen a girl's bra fly around, have you? We're on a mission. I never said it was a good mission. Actually, it is a good mission. We're getting her a piece of clothing. And then I have to explain to her to never let that happen again. But you know, one thing at a time.
Hello.
Has anyone seen...
Okay.
One moment. Has anyone seen...
Hey there.
A thing? Look, I'm just saying, if she lost... Oh, I'm sitting way too far to the right. If anyone... Okay, let's say you lost your undershirt from the wind as it's being presented, then it would be nearby-ish, wouldn't it? So then, that raises the question. Did I pick it up earlier? No. So...
Oh, truth is, my under...
It's pale blue. I am so confused. I'm so confused. Is this an actual thing I can find? Ooh, that's a pretty building.
Please.
What's up?
Hello.
Hi.
If you'll excuse me.
Your excuse. No, that's seeds. Oh wait, yeah, I have been here. I've planted seeds. Yeah, sure. Let's do some gardening. Harvest? Oh, we had a good harvest. So, one. We can only give one type of seed. In that case, we're giving the special one. Take back when you next explore the monastery on a free day. Yeah, sure. Fish guide. Am I actually searching for an item, or am I just wasting time? That's what I'm wondering. Oh. Marketplace, new area. I just don't know if I'm actually trying to find something or not.
Hello there.
Hello. Hello there. What am I actually looking for? So, hey, ho, let's go. Hey, ho, let's go. What am I looking for? I figured I couldn't go faster. Where is this shirt? Where's this undershirt? Must be somewhere.
What?
You look bored? I'm not bored, I'm just confused. I suppose that could be the same thing. So, items are highlighted with like a yellow speck. No. Am I silly? Am I being silly? I might be being silly. I'll just turn in the quests first, and then I'll figure things out, I suppose. Hello.
My savior, thank you.
You're very welcome. Alright then. And next up. Hello.
Inside the cathedral, there is a chapel dedicated to Saint. Now that you are a member. Well done. You have my thanks.
Thank you. Alright, awesome. Oh, it's the Saints. That's cool. Wait. Bow, sword, staff, and spear. Okay. Interesting.
So.
I was gonna say it's the 3 houses plus me, but... Because... we don't have a staff user. If we had someone that used the staff, then it would make sense. Unfortunate. Hey, I am so confused. I am just giving up on finding this girl's raw. I'm sorry, girl. I just have no idea what it is.
I fully accept the necessity of real battle from time to time.
Fair.
But it is still a surprise to be tasked with punishing bandits without warning. It is a rather different sort of mission. It makes me wonder what the Archbishop is planning.
Fair.
For some students, this will be their first time stepping onto a real battlefield. It's important that they're mentally prepared.
Agreed.
As for me, do I look green to you? Is there anything else you wish to ask me about regarding spending your time at the monastery? A great deal is expected from professors of the Officers Academy, so it's important to hone your skills. To put it plainly, you'll need to keep expanding your knowledge of all disciplines, not just battle.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Just as students have much to learn from other students, professors can also share their knowledge with each other. You should consider seeking instruction from Professor Hanneman or Professor Manuela. I think you'll find their insight quite interesting.
Yeah. Recruiting?
Which house a student is assigned to depends on where they're from. That said, each professor has their own area of expertise. So if a student is adamant about it, it is possible to, if you become closer with the students by...
Okay, so they explained the stealing students part. Cool. So now I've done everything for today. We can actually do activities. So that's fun.
Let's see.
Yeah, what's
that
up?
person sure does remind me of... Oh, do you need me for something?
No, I don't need you necessarily. Why do people sometimes just sound so genuinely upset and offended about my existence? Like, sometimes they're like, you know, politely, Professor. And then other times like, ugh. Filth. Like, damn, fuck you. They're already really happy. I'll take Dorothea, and I'll take Petra. Yeah. Those two.
I'll keep my voice down. Don't want people thinking I'm vying for attention. But how loud is too loud?
Learning these things gives me great difficulty.
Yeah. Once among the three of you have grown stronger, the 3 of you gain faith experience. Coven gained authority experience. How? You know what? I'm not questioning it. Good shit.
There's something else.
Okay. Cool. So... I'm gonna go there.
What? Xanadu, the Red Canyon, is a place of great... Even members of the church are forbidden from entering to go trampling around.
Yeah, no, fair. If it's a forbidden area, then yeah, you don't want to fuck around there. You know. There's some hair in the device. It looks just like mine.
You do seem to have a mark of the exceptional about you.
Of course, I'm more than happy to help you out. This is not creepy at all, sir.
Excellent. And your
I was hoping to get something special now. Oh. What else is there? I can do like an activity, I guess. Dining hall. Gotcha. What would it do if we cooked together? Bernadetta. Allies gain max plus 3 HP for the rest of the month. Ooh. Everyone gets plus luck, or everyone gets more defense. I'll take the HP. That sounds good.
Sounds fun. Let me show you my cooking talent.
Yes, please. What?
A little more secret spice.
She's amazing. Stroke of pyromancy. I love her. Cool. Very nice. So yeah, we're out of things we can do. I need to pee again. What? Alright, I'm gonna be
Have you not been told what's expected from lectures here? Well, I
need to
can
use the
tell you
bathroom.
how it works based on what I've heard from other professors.
I return. Sorry. Okay, so we did get the lecture. Yes! When you instruct the students, they gain skill experience. As their skill levels increase, they will gain access to new abilities and combat arts. The number of people you can instruct is indicated by your activity points on the top of the screen. When you set up group tasks, the student you assign will continue the task until you change it. After the first round of instruction each month, your students may come to you with a question. They will be motivated if they like your answer. Ooh, okay.
Before starting a lecture, it's a good idea to determine everyone's academic goals. Students will want to prioritize studying things that will help them achieve their aim.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
It's probably easier to get good results if you instruct students based on their interests and specialties. Of course, that doesn't mean it's pointless to teach someone things unrelated to their personal goals as well. By looking beyond their preferences, some students may find they're interested in fields they've never previously considered.
Yeah, no, fair.
A student's goals may change based on their studies or the experience they gain.
This is so cool, though.
When that happens, perhaps you could help them decide what new goals they should set for themselves.
I really like this. I like this a lot. Hell yeah.
How motivated a student is will affect how well your tutoring goes.
So by hanging out with them, we
Cultivate
get their motivation.
I think it's a good idea to interact with your students as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Please try your best to motivate everyone,
Yeah.
so that they, in turn, will try hard with their...
Yeah.
At the Officers Academy, students are encouraged to engage in various activities in and around the monastery.
Makes
If you
sense.
instruct your students to work together as a team, it will help to deepen their bonds and produce better results.
Yeah, no. That sounds about right. I am just loving
Have
that
you
I'm
heard
back
about
to
the
teaching.
certification
You know?
exams? They take place every month. Everyone here is working hard to become a certain type of soldier. And
Yeah.
those tests are how you can check to see how far we've come. In
Mhm.
order to pass the exam, you need to train enough to become whatever class you're aiming for.
Yeah.
Take care to develop your students strategically so that they can pass their...
Okay. Yeah, no. This seems really fun. So, weeding. And then I would want someone who... Okay. So for stable duty, we have Ferdinand, who really wants to keep it up. And then... hard, I guess? Okay. Let's just start with instruct. So we have a couple people that really want to be instructed, so we're gonna go with her. She wants... Professor expertise would help her out with this. This is a strength of hers, so she can learn more about the bow. She's not very good with swords, but I am very good with swords, okay? Well, I say we up your ability with a bow.
I did pretty well today.
Yes, she did. I don't want to only instruct her. Wait. So, if I stop, does that mean I can select a different student? Because that sounds like I can't. That's a question I find myself having right now. Like, if I stopped instructing her right now, would I then just not be able to instruct anyone else? You get her full bar of motivation either way. So I should just keep instructing her then. Basically. Oh, nice. Great on that. A perfect... Damn, girl!
Thanks.
We get one extra free session. Okay. So, obviously, we're going to instruct Edelgard. Authority, heavy armor, riding, and flying. I can see giving you heavy armor. But... like... oh. Sword D... X... Exam test one of these skills. Oh, she could actually become a fighter. Oh, okay. Interesting. I still think... I don't know. Heavy armor seems useful. As well as a bit of that. I do want to upgrade your axe as well. Alright. Stuff. Then I want to... The thing is, you're good with magic. And I do think a magic user is useful, but she has flying. Nah, magic. We're going for magic. No downside to... yeah, already. Wait, but you... But what? Magic is a weakness for you. You would rather know how to use a sword. Okay, then I might move to Petra. Wait. Okay, so Petra wants to learn flying. Sword and axe, okay. You get another one in flying. Ooh, we love to hear it.
You have my thanks for...
You have my thanks for being amazing. Alright, that's instructions. Group tasks. Skywatch. No one? No, just Petra. If I send Petra, and then I send... stable duty. Ferdinand, sure. Together with Casper. Not expecting much. but it's something. Weeding. Renadetta. And... Hubert? Good luck. Okay, so you can only set up one group task. That makes sense. I should have checked your goals. Sorry, lads. Excellent authority. I kind of agree. Yeah, no, this seems fine. Cool.
May I ask a question, Professor?
Yes, you may. You just did. Ugh. Sorry, but you should probably skip me. I don't have a question to ask. How would I even think of one? It's important that you think for yourself. You don't need to. Talk about whatever you'd like. Oh, that's hard. Okay. So it's based on her personality. She's very timid. It's pointing out that she just asked a question what she'd want. She's afraid that she can't even think.
Wow, you're a genius!
Yeah, you're welcome. I was not aware this was such a social game. I won't lie.
Let's get to work.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, this is impossible.
You wanted to do this.
Look, Professor, we did great.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Damn. Huh. Neat. Oh, it's also someone's birthday. Raphael.
Thanks.
Yeah, sure. Oh, it's battle day. Okay. It is 10:30. I have plans in an hour, thereabout. Here's what we'll do. We're doing one final battle for today, and then I'm probably gonna call it. But yeah, no, let's do this. This will be the last thing we do today. How often you can battle is limited by your activity points indicated at the top right of the screen on normal difficulty. Some auxiliary battles will continue. No. If you headed to battle while playing online, you may see spirits of those who have perished on other players' battlefields. Okay. Spirits that appear in this shade. Okay. So we get a practice. Sure. Let's do this. I'll save it over. Cool. Let's do this.
In battle, it's necessary to deploy battalions so that students can experience taking command. I doubt I need to say this to a mercenary like you, but if you have any questions about how...
I kind of figured out battalions already. Pretty messing with them earlier. So, we can use everyone now. That's fun. Oh, we have 2 battalions. I see. I see. Alright, as far as I'm concerned, we just start the fight. Yes. Rout the enemy. All of your units fall in battle. Yeah, that makes sense. Alright. So...
I will get the victory. Oh no.
We are fine.
Stay focused.
Okay. I'm trying to think the best
I will
move.
prevail.
Like, we are just chilling.
Ferdinand von Eyre.
Chilling in the bushes.
As you wish.
Good choice.
Put me in there.
Yeah, and the music is such a banger.
Battle.
Oh. All right. We are fighting a lot of enemies.
Predictable. Allow me to demonstrate.
Oh my god.
Should I have held back?
No. Fuck him up. Nice. Good stuff. Okay. So now it looks like we're really just fighting entire legions.
No use.
Oh, you missed. Oh, we missed. Oh. Arrow to face. Her arrow skill is gonna level up soon. Pretty sure.
No hesitation.
A crit again! Oh my god!
Each battle
We are just critting left and right, huh? We are just having a great time critting.
Wow,
Neat.
amazing.
Alright. Very much amazing. I can't help but agree. Wait. Stay in our little hidey holes to the best of our extent. Bush equals no problems. That's the best way to look at it. As long as we're in the bushes, we are practically speaking safe. You know what I mean? Hack into. Oops. We get the knockout, hopefully. God. Oh my god, no. They also have bushes. You. Attack. Yes. Kill. Yes! Oh my god, nice. Attack him. Kill! Kill! Kill!
You could have at least tried.
Yeah. Okay, well, there you just really sound like Akechi, buddy. That was the most Akechi you've sounded whole game. Not gonna lie. Kill him. Ooh, yeah, hit him with the crit. Beautifully done. Yes, you're doing great.
Show me more.
Yeah, I will. Can I move you somewhere where you can do something? Not really. Go there for the protection. We can move back. Yes. Yes. Go. Alright, nice.
That was nothing.
Very nice. Good stuff, Ferdinand. Love him. Alright, take your route. Good hit. That's okay, it happens. You. Bush. Attack. Thunder. PK Thunder!
Winning's always nice.
Winning is always nice. That's very true. Alright. Honestly, I want Edelgard to just be near the other side. I feel like that's probably best to split them up in two. Alright, unfortunate, but it's okay. Hit him back. Good stuff. Very well done. Again, unfortunate, but you are currently the one doing a lot of our work. Oh, good stuff. Well done, Hubert. Right, more of them moving in. I love the trees. The trees are just such a good strategy. You. Spear attack, yes. No kill. Combat art, that spear, yes, that do kill. We just gotta get the kill in. It's needed or we are in trouble. Very well done, Ferdinand. You make me proud, my boy. No, you did great. Don't worry about it. Thunder won't kill. Look at close. There we go. No retaliation available. You kill that guy. Good stuff.
No one makes it past me.
They do not. Move, assist, heal. Yes. Get a good little heal in on you. Hell yeah. Alright. Back to bush strats. Then you attack. I can do miasma. Would be good. I do believe it's best if I move. Alright. You can come out of the shadows and go for the kill. There you go. Unfortunate, but it's okay.
Flame Spirit, protect me.
You're doing great. I love my team. They make me so proud. Alright. Small problem. I shouldn't have left the trees. I feel like leaving the trees was a bad decision. Yeah. Oh. Or not? Oh my god. Petra. Let's go. Petra goes crazy. I love Petra.
Unpredictable. Allow me to demonstrate.
Allow me to demonstrate.
That is that.
Yeah, no, fair. Nice. We're doing so well.
Such power dwells within.
Okay.
Put me in there.
Put me in, coach. Wait. You. Back. Wait. Okay. Here is where the fun begins. Knockdown.
You fought well.
Another one down. Very nice. You. Knock another one down. Very nice.
My heart is full of victory.
Yes, it is. Turf shot. Very well done, Bernadetta. They never see us coming. Ooh, skill level up.
I got it.
Yes, you did. You're making me very proud, girly. I don't want to over shit. That's fine. Other than that, you stay. You move. Yes. You also. We move as an army. Bro went for me. Bro made a mistake. Oh, bro made a mistake.
As expected.
As expected indeed. Good shit.
We must all do our part.
Yes, we must. Battalion level up. Nice. I see Billion. Yes. Shadow Guard. Getting hits fine. Just make sure you hit back harder. If you get hit, it's fine. Just hit back way harder. Yeah. Like that. Good shit, Petra. I love you.
But
There's no disappointment. You're doing great. Look at them try and kill you. And look at you cleaving them down. Beautiful. And the final hit. Mwah.
that is that.
C'est magnifique. Absolutely fantastic. 2,800 gold. Oh my god, let's go. All right. We got MVP. Nice. That's okay. Yeah, no, this has been amazing. Oh, Izzy Kid, thank you for the follow and thank you for dropping by. I hope you're enjoying the stream today. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Hi, hi, hi. I guess we'll be saving file 4. That was so much fun. Oh my god. But yeah, no, thank you very much for dropping by and giving a follow. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the world of 3 houses. Yeah, thank you. Honestly, I've been loving it. Not gonna lie. It's been so much fun. Only thing. When does one save? I don't know when to save. But they're still doing the group task. Oh yeah, because it's for the rest of the month. Yeah. She needs more motivation. You know when you're in the room looking at the wall? Oh, okay, yeah. So I have to get back into my...
something.
Oh shit, she leveled up. Let's go. I have to get back to my room first. Okay. Gotcha. Thank you. Oh. St. McCule Day is here. There will be a hymn recital. Yeah, sure. Why not? We can join the hymn recital.
Professor, let me sing for you. Do you not like my voice? It would make a Pegasus dance with joy.
Our voices are all over the place. We must learn to work together in harmony.
In harmony. All right. Bonds among the 3 of you grew significantly stronger. The 3 of you gained significant... Yeah, no. Cool. We're so close. All right, Saturday.
We finished without issue.
Good shit. Hell yeah. Oh my god. We did amazing. Holy.
The battlefield has much.
Seems simple enough.
It's starting to take
shape.
shape.
Let's put this to the time.
I am closing.
Yes. Thank you. Awesome. Cool. Alright, I also saw the autosave. Awesome. Since it autosaved, that means we can do what I said we were going to do. We are going to call it here for today. It's already 11 my time. I have some plans later with some other friends that I want to get ready for. So it doesn't autosave. It said autosaving on the bottom right. Oh, okay. But I literally cannot, is the thing. I'm not allowed to explore. I have to do a seminar. I'm not allowed to save the way you're saying. Oh, wait, no. Never mind. You're right. I can do it. Let's go. Thank you. We have acquired manual save. Okay. It did say autosave, and there is an autosave there, but I do agree. I'd prefer to save it myself. All right, awesome. Cool. With that, I will say thank you all very much for hanging out with me today. I had a wonderful time. I hope you all did too. I am absolutely loving this game. This has been a lot of fun. I think Fire Emblem Three Houses is now officially in one of my top 10 games. It's so much fun. Holy shit. Happy I finally started it. We are gonna raid into Little Fairy, unsurprisingly perhaps. She's doing a subathon thing, so I want to give her a bit of support with that today. So yeah, let's get that one. Fuck you mean that's not the right name? Yes, it is. No, it's not. I can't spell. And that's why I could never be a wizard. There we go. All right. I love you all. Thank you very much for hanging out with me today. I had an absolutely fantastic time playing this game. It was wonderful. Very fun community, I must admit. The people who dropped by that are Fire Emblem fans, you've all been absolutely fantastic to hang around with. Lots of fun all around, I must admit. So yeah, thank you all very much for hanging out with me today. Take it easy and take care of yourselves. Let's go give some love to Faye. And yeah, mwah! Bye-bye.